A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Well, the Aces, having lost all their money, are preparing to move out of their bungalow into an apartment. But the apartment must be big enough to include Jane's 18-year-old niece, Betty, who came to town hoping to work for Mr. Race. But Mr. Race himself is looking for a job, too. Our scene now is about 5:30 in the evening at the bungalow. Marge has just entered and is met by Jane.
The man who just left here? Oh, those are the men I called up to come about the moving. About the moving? Don't tell me you found an apartment already. All right. Oh, Jane. What? Well, did you find an apartment? Well, do you want me to tell you or don't you? Well, of course I do. Oh, I thought maybe you felt like I do about it. I'm just so black and blue thinking about it, I don't like to even talk about it. But did you find an apartment? Yes, this afternoon. Well, did you decide on it without him? Oh, no, I called him, and he said if I thought it was all right to take it. Well, where is it? It's the Boulevard apartment. The Boulevard? Oh, way uptown? Well, the rent's cheap there. That's the main thing. It's hard to find a place with 2 extra rooms for what we can pay for it. 2 extra? Oh, am I included in this? Why, sure you are. I got a room for you and one for Betty. Oh. Why? What did you think? Did you think of moving somewhere else? Well, I didn't know what... Oh, you did think of moving. Well, if that isn't like a friend, when things go wrong, they want to leave. Oh, now, Jen, you don't mean that about me. Well, you just said it. I said I didn't know what my status was to be. Of course I want to live with you. You know that. You don't think I relish living somewhere alone, do you? No, I don't. I know you didn't enjoy where you used to live before you came here to live with us. That room you had was 1 window. 2 windows, if you please? Sure. Oh, yes, if you count that little window in there. Just the same, it wasn't such a bad room. It was just the idea of living alone. After living here with you, I couldn't stand the solitude. Well, you just wait till you see this room I got for you. I'll take your word for it. Oh, and those men from the moving company, when are they coming back to move it? Well, day after tomorrow. First thing in the morning. We have to be all packed. Oh, then I better get started on my stuff tonight. Well, what time's dinner? I don't know. As soon as everybody comes home. I told Laura that we have to wait till everybody got here. Oh, yes. How about Laura? What about her? I mean, you're going to have to let her go, aren't you? Have you told her? No, I haven't. Jane. I know. I've just been hating you all day. Well, you better get it over with, and right away. I'll call her. Oh, Marge, I just hate to say anything to her. Oh, I'll come out here with her. Oh, I know she's going to feel awful about it. Well, Jane, you have to do it. Now, you tell her. Well, all right. You want me to? No, I'll tell her. She's so sensuous, I'm going to have to sort of hint around, in a roustabout way. Well, just so you... Oh, here she is. Did you call me, ma'am? Yes, Mrs. Ace wants to talk to you, Laura. I'm going in and tidy up, Jane. Laura? Yes, miss. I was gone. Who? Those 2 men that were here before. Oh, yes, they're... Did you hear me talking to them? Oh, no, ma'am. I was busy getting dinner. Who are they, ma'am? Moving men. Oh, moving men. Are they going to take pictures? Pictures? They're going to take everything. They are. Me, too. You, well, that's what I want to talk to you about, Laura. Yes, ma'am. Well, come over here. I can't holler to you. Oh, yes, ma'am. I didn't know that. Laura, remember that $2 raise I gave you last week? Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. It's so now, wait a minute. Let me talk. Yes, ma'am. Well, I know you're going to feel awful about this, but, well, here's the whole thing in a shell hole. I'm going to have to take back the $2 raise. You won't, ma'am? Oh, now, don't feel so bad about it. Well, I can't help it, ma'am. I only had it 1 week. Well, it's better than having it too long and getting used to it, isn't it? Yes, ma'am, I guess so. Well, sure it is. Now, stop looking so sad. Worse things than that can happen. What, ma'am? Well, worse things than that. I don't know what it could be. Well, they could. So, I have to take back the $2 raise. Well, all right, ma'am. Well, we got that settled. Laura? Yes, ma'am. And now I'm going to have to take back the rest of your salary, too. The rest of it? Yes, I wanted to tell you this a little bit at a time and just sort of break the news to you. That's why I took back your raise first. Now I can tell you the rest of it. I'm going to have to take back the rest of your salary, too.
But I don't know what you mean, ma'am. That doesn't leave me very much, does it?
Well, hardly anything.
Why, it don't leave anything if you take the raise and the salary.
See, and you said nothing could be worse. Now, cheer up.
Cheer up.
Well, I better tell you the whole thing. You see, Mr. Ace lost all our money.
No? How?
In business. You wouldn't understand it, Laura.
Well, it looks to me like he didn't understand it either, ma'am.
Who?
Mr. Ace, if he lost all his money.
Well, he did, but it doesn't mean he didn't understand it. He just happened to lose it. How about all the time we had it and he didn't lose it? He understood it then. Turnabout is fair play, isn't it?
Well, yes, I guess so.
Now, just because he lost it and we're going to have to move into an apartment, that's no reason that he does.
Moving to an apartment?
Yes, we're moving day after tomorrow.
You mean you're not going to leave here, ma'am?
No, how can we live here with no money? That's why I have to let you go too, Laura. Especially now with my niece here living with us, that would make even more work for you. And I couldn't even tell you what I've been paying you, much less a raise.
Well, who's going to do all the cooking, ma'am?
I will. I did it before, and I guess what was good enough for me is good enough for me.
And Miss Marge, too, ma'am, is she going to move in with you?
Oh, yes, Marge always lives with us.
But that makes so much work, ma'am. You'll have to have somebody helping you.
Well, we can't afford it, Laura. And I'm not the kind of a wife that goes around making her husband because he lost his money and I have to do all the work. I say a wife should take the bitter with the better. When we first got married, things were bitter. And then when they got better, I took the better. But now that they're bitter, don't you think I ought to take the bitter? I think I better.
Yes, ma'am, I guess so. But this is kind of sudden, ma'am. I'm so used to working here, and I don't know if I can find something else.
Oh, sure you can, Laura.
Well, I don't know, ma'am. And besides, I like you, ma'am, very much.
Well, terra firma, Laura.
Thank you, ma'am. And I don't mind coming in getting the dinners, ma'am, and sort of helping around the apartment.
But I can't afford it, Laura.
Well, couldn't I do it just for my meals and my car fare?
Just for your meals and car fare?
Yes, ma'am. You see, I live with my girlfriend, and just for the winter, I thought I could sort of stay on.
Well, if you want to, Laura.
Oh, I do want to, ma'am.
Well?
Is it a bargain, ma'am?
Well, it's a bargain for me. I don't think it's such a bargain for you, though, Laura, because...
Well, did you get it all straightened out, then?
Yes, I told her, Marge, but she doesn't want to quit.
Doesn't want to quit?
No.
No, what do you mean? Well, I don't mind working just for my meals and car fare.
It's because she likes me so much, Marge.
Yes, I should say she must. Yes, ma'am. Well, I'll hurry and get dinner. I feel so much better now, ma'am.
You do?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome, Laura.
Well, that's right for you. The girl gets fired and she feels much better.
Yes, and you should have seen how bad she felt a little while ago when I told her I was going to have to take back the $2 raise I gave her last week.
She what?
Yes, she just felt awful.
Oh, you started out by just taking back the raise?
Well, I didn't like to come right out and tell her. I know how bad I feel that we have to leave here, so you can imagine.
Yes, and I wanted to talk to you about that, Jane.
About what?
About how bad you feel because all this had to happen. Now, you know, Ace feels worse about it than any of us.
Yes, I guess he does.
So how about you trying to pet him up a little?
What do you mean?
I mean, don't show it so plainly. Be gay, kind of. Laugh it off. Take it in good spirits.
Oh, you mean in front of him?
That's the idea. Just tell him it could be much worse.
Could be much worse.
All in a lifetime.
All in a lifetime.
Laugh and be merry, you know, so he won't feel any worse than he does.
Oh, I know what you mean, Marge. I guess I shouldn't look so sad at that.
That's the idea, Jane. Oh, there he is now.
Oh, is that you, dear?
Yes, yes.
Oh, you got home early, didn't you?
Yes, I did. There isn't much for me to do now.
Oh, well, the worst is yet to come, dear.
The worst is yet to come.
Oh, well, we're only young once in a while.
What is it?
Well, the moving men were here a little while ago.
Oh, they were.
Yes, and we had more fun figuring out how we're going to pack everything.
Fun? Is that your idea of fun?
Yes, it's kind of exciting. I just can't wait till we get to the new apartment and get settled up.
Settling up is going to be the hard part.
Oh, well.
Not only does all this happen to just us, but we have to have an extra person on our hands.
By the way, where is Betty? Betty? Oh, she'll be home pretty soon. She's been out looking around. For a job, you mean? Yes, she wanted to get started right away. I told her she ought to take a vacation first. She just started.
A vacation, huh?
Uh-huh.
She's probably on the longest vacation she ever had right now and doesn't know it.
Oh, now, Ace, don't talk like
Well,
that.
I know the tough time I'm having. If I can't get anything, what chance is she going to have?
Oh, why don't you be an optician, dear?
An optician? Look at the world through rose-colored glasses. Is that what you mean?
Yes, after all, we ought to be happy. Oh, there's Betty now. I'll let her in there. Well, I'm glad she's here. I'm starved.
Oh, are we still eating?
Oh, why don't you snap out of that? You got a way to talk. Oh, hello, Betty. Eureka! I do now. Don't say things like that. Betty, what is it?
Successful.
You mean you found yourself a job?
I have.
Well, good work.
Oh, is it good work? See, dear, she found good work.
Well, Betty, how did you do it?
It was a triumph of science over mediocrity.
Oh, that's smart. What kind of work is that?
It's the kind of work I've been trained for.
Well, what is it? Where is it?
It's a private secretarial job with all the accessories.
Isn't that wild? Oh, what is it, Betty?
I'm telling you, Aunt Jane, private secretary. I get $25 a week to start with, and if I'm all I say I am, I get $30.
Well, dear, how's that?
Well, that's just dandy.
Isn't it? Now we're all getting settled. Cheer up, dear. I got the apartment today. Betty got a job. And now that leaves you, dear. Cheer up. You're the only fly in the oatmeal.
Oh.
Jane, I don't like that.
Yes, I see that. Atta girl, Jane. That's cheering him up. And so our friends begin to straighten themselves out. We drop in on them in their new environment when next we meet the Easy Aces.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Volpla by Wyman Gwynn. But first, hear this.
Hello, I'm Dorothy Olson, singing schoolteacher on NBC's big weekday musical show, Bandstand. But right now, I'd like to talk to you parents. I'd like to ask you a few questions as you're getting ready to send your youngsters back to school. Are you helping your child get the most out of his school? Do you make his home conditions favorable enough for him to do his homework? Do you show an interest in his schoolwork? Remember, your child's success in school and later on in life depends to a large degree on your attitude towards his schooling today. And there's another important thing. Everyone needs a good send-off in the morning, and that goes for children, too. Be sure your children have a substantial breakfast and a cheery goodbye before they head for school each day. Remember, you can't expect your child to do it all himself. Encourage him in his schooling, both in your attitude and in your actions as he goes back to school this fall.
X-1 and Volpla.
Lunch, dear.
Oh, I'll be right there.
Come on, you old hermit. I have a buffet on the terrace.
I'm coming. So, I'm an old hermit, am I? And our daughter says I'm eccentric now. I wonder how the devil she ever found out.
From me, of course.
But you love me just the same.
Oh, Max, what's got into you? Stop it.
Oh, I reached the dangerous age. And, lady, I am going to have fun.
Well, come on out to the terrace. The hamburgers will get cold.
My dear, I'm going to have a new kind of fun.
Oh?
It's a joke. I'm going to play a tremendous joke on the whole world. I had been working for this moment for 10 years, and now, Volplas, 3 of them, a male and 2 females. I had called them Volplas since that day 10 years ago when I got the idea of creating a flying mutant, which I would teach to feed, play, and talk. Now I was almost ready to play my joke on the world. After lunch, when I returned to the lab, the Volplas were moving about on the mattress where I had placed them, and the male was trying to stand. They were about 28 inches high. Except for the face, chest, and belly, the Volplas were covered with a soft, almost golden down. The skin was pink. Upon his head and across his shoulders, the male had a shock of fur as soft as a chinchilla. The cranium was in the same proportion to the body as it is in the human. And they were shockingly human-eyed. When the male spread his arms, the span was 48 inches. I held his arms out and tried to tease the spars open. These spars turned backward and ran alongside the wrist almost to the elbow. Powerful wrist muscles could snap them outward and forward. Suddenly, as I teased the male Volpla, this happened. The spars shot outward, adding 9 inches to each side of a span. The lateral skin, that had until now been resting in folds, was tightened into a golden plane that stretched from the tip of the spar to his waist, a true gliding plane, perhaps even a soaring plane. By 4 o'clock that afternoon, they were ready for their first solid food. Come on now, here, hold the cup. That's the way. Hold the cup. Oh, you're a beauty. You're all beauties. No, come on. Hey, don't climb on my back. No, don't. Now, stop. Oh, that's better. Oh, hello, pretty one. Hello.
Hello.
So that's the way it's going to be, eh? Hello.
Hello.
Wonderful. Oh, you have no idea what I have in store for you, my dears. I will teach you a language. Perhaps English, a simple basic English. You will have your own crafts, and you'll live in small tree houses, and I'll teach you legends that you came from the stars, that you watched the red men and the white men, and you listen to their speech. And when you're able to take care of yourselves, I'll turn you loose. There'll be Volpla colonies up and down the coast before anyone suspects. And then, my dear, one day, somebody will see a Volpla, and the scientists will observe them. Then the legends will come. Isn't that funny? Don't you think that's terribly funny?
Funny.
You're listening to Volpla. Now back to X-1 and Act 2 of Volpla.
I used the metabolic accelerator to cut the Volpla's gestation down to 1 week, and I used it to bring the infants to maturity in 1 month. By the next spring, I had a colony of over 100 Volplas, and I shut down the accelerator. From now on, they could have their babies in their own way. I had devised a language for them, and I carefully adulterated it with English, as if they had observed us and learned. My Volplas were amazing. They were bilingual. Well, Jane and Susie went down to Santa Barbara for a week, and I took the opportunity to ship the male and the oldest 2 females out of the lab. I put them in a Jeep beside me and drove to a secluded valley about a mile back on the ranch.
Tree, rock, sky.
That's right, Chief. That's the sky. All right, come on now. Everybody out. Run, jump.
Jump, run, sky.
That's right. Take off. Go ahead. He spent about 2 hours chasing the 2 girl Volplas around, and then he made a leap for one. And when he spread his arms, his spars snapped out, and those golden planes sheared into the air.
Sky.
He sailed over her, and he rose up, and he hung in the breeze for a long moment, 3 feet above the ground.
Fly.
That's right. You can fly.
Oh, fly.
They learned quickly and brilliantly. They were not really flyers. They were gliders and soarers. Before long, they took agilely to the trees and launched themselves in beautiful glides for hundreds of feet, banking and turning and spiraling to a gentle halt. Oh, I laughed out loud with anticipation. Wait until the first pair of these is brought before a sheriff. Wait till the newspaper reporters are routed out into the hills to witness this. When they were tired, the Volplas lay on their backs with their planes stretched out. The oldest one came over to me. He squatted, his elbows resting in the ground, his wrist crossed at his chest.
Before the red men, we live here.
That's right. In places like these, you lived all along these mountains. Now there are very few of you left. Since you've been staying in my place, you've naturally forgotten the ways of living outdoors.
We learn again. We stay here.
That's right. Now look. Look, you see up in that tree? That's a bird. That's your food, if you can kill it.
How?
Well, I don't think you can get at them in the tree. You'll have to soar up above and catch one of them on the wing when they fly away. Go ahead, try. He climbed the tree and launched himself and caught a warm updraft from the hillside. In no time, he was about 200 feet away. He began working his way, crisscrossing back to us, and then suddenly he dived. He caught the bird! He caught the bird!
Bird! We eat!
Yes, you eat this. I'll show you how to build a fire. Again, I told them the story I'd made up. How they came long before the red men in a ship from the stars. I taught them to point to the planet Venus and say that was the star they came from. I grinned to think of the many stories that would be written in the Sunday supplements. Oh, what a great joke I was playing on the world.
We came from a star before the red men? From a star?
Yes. The next week, I brought all the Volplas out to the Oakwood. There were 107 men, women, and children. By the end of the week, they were scattered over 4 square miles of the ranch. They hunted sparrows and cooked them over tiny fires. The little creatures delighted me more and more. For hours, I could watch them play. I could sit all afternoon and watch them at work in a tree house, quite forgetting to go home.
Well, how does the mighty hunter who now returns from the forest?
Fine. Oh, I've been enjoying the local animal life.
So is our daughter.
What do you mean?
She has 2 of them up in her room.
2 what?
I don't know. What do you call them?
I went up the stairs 3 at a time and burst into my daughter's room. There she sat in her bed, reading a book to 2 Volplas.
Hello there, King Arthur.
What's going on here?
Oh, nothing, Daddy. We're just reading like we always do.
Like always? How long has this been going on?
Oh, weeks and weeks. How long has it been since that first time you came here to visit me?
Weeks and weeks.
But you're teaching them to read.
Oh, of course. They're such good pupils and so grateful. Daddy, you won't make them go away, will you?
Oh, Jane, why did you tell me such a thing like this was going on?
Now, you listen to me, mister. Your whole life is a secret from us. Just what makes you think your daughter can't have a little secret of her own?
Oh, fine secret. Didn't it occur to you that this might be dangerous? Those creatures are...
Oh, Max, for heaven's sake, they're sweet, lovable little creatures without a harm in their furry little bodies. Now, don't get excited.
Chief! Look, where are you?
Here, Bush.
Listen. Do you realize there are 2 Volplas in my daughter's bedroom?
Yes, they go there every day. Is there anything wrong with that?
But she's teaching them the words men put on paper.
Yes, you told us men may be enemies. We wish to learn so we can protect. I have Thing here.
Well, that's the San Francisco Chronicle.
We've been taking it for some time from box at your house. Oh. I have learned from the others. I can read most of this.
It was terrible. The whole wonderful joke of the Volplas would be lost. But I knew what I would have to do. I'd have to explain that my family and I had found a colony of them on our ranch and taught them English and taught them to read. I was stuck with that.
Men are dangerous. They will shoot us with guns if we leave here.
No. Now listen. When they know who you are, they'll leave you alone. Now, you must disperse all your families at once. Send them far away and spread out.
No, we cannot leave these woods. Men would shoot us.
But I'm telling you...
Perhaps you are not a good friend. Perhaps you have lied to us. Why are you saying we should leave these woods?
But it's important. The whole... I mean, you'll be safer.
We will decide.
The whole thing was critical. It could be disastrous. I went back to the house and up to Susie's room. I found her talking to 2 Volplas.
Oh, no. I'm sure you didn't come from the stars. That doesn't sound right. The more I think about it, the more I'm sure that my father made you.
Susie, what business have you telling them that? I don't want you talking to them that way. Do you hear me?
Daddy, you want to play a joke, don't you? Like the time you said I could have a horse for my birthday. You gave me that dried seahorse in the bottle instead of a real one. Were you going to make that kind of a joke?
No. Now, Susie, honey, that isn't exactly it. No.
I don't think it's very funny. The Volplas are my friends. I wouldn't want to play a practical joke on them.
Chief, where are you? Chief! Oh, confound it. The fires are out. None of them around. Chief! Are you up there in that treehouse? Where are you? Where are all of you? You've got to listen to me. I made you. The joke, the whole joke is spoiled. Where are you? Chief! Volplas! Volplas! I was away from the house for hours. When I came back, I found Jane sitting on the terrace.
Are you looking for something, dear?
Oh, never mind.
I suppose they're all gone.
What do you mean?
The little flying things. I saw them fly by about 4 in the afternoon.
You did? Where did they go?
Over that way. You could see them soaring over the trees. Oh, it was so pretty.
Where's Susie?
She's been watching television. She's all excited about the rocket flights, you know.
What rocket?
Oh, you have been living in the woods. The Venus rocket. My goodness, it's been in all the newspapers. Well, where are you going?
I've got to talk to Susie. Susie!
Daddy, the rocket's almost ready to go. Listen.
It approaches 0 hour now. The rocket stands tall and silvery. The gantry crane is pulled away now. We're actually at least 5 miles away, watching from the remote monitors. There's some disturbance now. It seems to be some birds. Big birds, like a flock of owls, circling the ship.
Oh, Daddy, look.
Hey, wait a minute. They're flying through the hatch. It seems to be jammed open. Well, this is certainly an unforeseen development. The men on the ground are driving a motor-driven ladder up to the ship, and the owls seem to be fighting them off. Oh, there goes the hatch. It's closed. Those birds are inside. They're big birds, big as eagles. As we told you previously, ladies and gentlemen, the rocket is on automatic fire. It'll go off in precisely 10 seconds.
We stared at the television screen. We saw the red blast of fire and the silvery rocket streak up into the sky, the cameras following.
Our reporter at scientific headquarters reports that none of the rocket telemeters are recording. The owls who blundered into the open hatch in this heartbreaking accident seem to have disrupted the automatic recorders. The control circuit cannot be altered. The rocket will land on Venus as scheduled.
Daddy, those weren't owls, were they?
No, they weren't.
Owls. He thought they were owls. That's kind of a joke, isn't it? Isn't it a joke, Daddy?
I'd say, Max, dear, the joke's on you. Wait till men land on Venus and find Venusians with a legend about their great father in California.
Of course, they left me a note. The handwriting wasn't very good, but then you wouldn't write very well either if your index finger was 9 inches long. I sat on the patio and read the Volpla's farewell. It said, "The man who made us, we forgive you. We know we did not come from the stars, but we go there. I, the chief, give you welcome to visit. We will try not to laugh at you. Goodbye."
Fred Collins speaking, and I'll have a word for you about tonight's X-1 in a moment.
Say, Bert Clark, my true story's coming our way.
Monday is the moving day.
That's good news for me. My true story on NBC.
Well, that's good news for everybody, Dorothy Olson, for all the millions of women who've been faithful listeners to My True Story during its 15 fabulous years in radio. And for all the millions more who now have an opportunity to hear these complete stories every weekday morning in the half-hour time period just before our NBC bandstand.
And I think we ought to remind everyone, Bert, that this is the same My True Story that has been one of radio's most popular morning programs.
With a complete drama every morning about people and their problems.
Still acted by wonderful casts and adapted by Margaret Sangster from material supplied by True Story magazine.
Same time, but new stations. So take note and don't miss a single broadcast. Starting Monday, September 2nd, you'll hear My True Story at this spot on your dial, just before NBC Bandstand over most of these NBC stations.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight, Saucer of Loneliness by Theodore Sturgeon. But first, hear this.
Hello, I'm Dorothy Olson, singing schoolteacher on NBC's big weekday musical show, Bandstand. But right now, I'd like to talk to you parents. I'd like to ask you a few questions as you're getting ready to send your youngsters back to school. Are you helping your child get the most out of his school? Do you make his home conditions favorable enough for him to do his homework? Do you show an interest in his schoolwork? Remember, your child's success in school and later on in life depends to a large degree on your attitude towards his schooling today. And there's another important thing. Everyone needs a good send-off in the morning, and that goes for children, too. Be sure your children have a substantial breakfast and a cheery goodbye before they head for school each day. Remember, you can't expect your child to do it all himself. Encourage him in his schooling, both in your attitude and in your actions as he goes back to school this fall.
Now, X-1, the story Saucer of Loneliness by Theodore Sturgeon.
My name is Jason Bernardes. I'm a newspaper reporter, 31 years old. I write poetry, but I don't show it to anybody because they might laugh. And the things I write about are very important to me. I was an only child and never went much with girls because I'm too ugly and too sensitive and they used to hurt me. I live alone. It isn't much fun. I'm not painting this picture of myself to get sympathy. I don't need it. But it's important you should know the kind of person I am. Otherwise, you won't understand what I'm going to tell you about. Tonight, the 25th of June, 1962. I was down on the beach. There was a girl out there in the surf, alone, struggling. I plunged in after her, got her, brought her ashore, and carried her where a dune was between us and the water. Then I rubbed her wrists. She had a pale, beautiful face with ancient, bottomless blue eyes. She opened them and looked at me after a moment. Hey, it's all right now. Here, put my coat over you.
Why couldn't you leave me alone?
I couldn't.
Why?
Because it's important to me.
I suppose you want to know why I did it.
No, I know.
Oh, how could you know?
Maybe I know what it means to be lonely.
Oh, that.
That's it, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Don't be afraid. I've been looking for you for a long time.
Looking for me?
All my life.
How did you know? I don't believe you.
It's true. I found your message.
You found my message?
Yes.
Oh.
You see, there's nothing to be afraid of, not anymore. Just rest.
Yes. I'd like to rest for a while.
She didn't remember it, of course, but I was one of the reporters who had covered the story when it first happened, 5 years ago. I'll never forget that day. I was working the police blotter. It was a quiet summer afternoon when they brought her in. 2 big cops in blue uniform.
All right. Come on now, girlie. Come on. All right. We understand. Take it easy now.
Please, just let me go.
Disturbing the peace.
This that Central Park Club?
Yeah, this is it.
I thought you radioed there was a near riot up there.
Well, you should have seen the place.
All right. Give me the report.
Well, me and Bennett got up there. There was a mob of people all surrounding this girl, see? So we bust through, and there, in the middle of maybe 600 people, she's lying there, sort of in a faint.
Mm-hmm.
I asked a couple of people what the difficulty was. They tell me it's a flying saucer, you see? So I tell
you... what?
The flying saucer.
What is it, Miss Gag?
It happened.
It did, eh? Suppose you tell me your version.
Well, I was standing in the park, and I looked up, and there it was.
Describe it.
Well, it was beautiful. It was golden with a dusty finish like an unripe Concord grape, and it made a faint sound, a chord of 2 tones, and it circled over my head like some great round hummingbird.
Go on.
Well, other people must have seen it because they were all looking at me and pointing, and I saw one man cross himself, and then it came down and touched me and spoke to me.
This flying saucer spoke to you?
Yes.
Just what did it say to you? I said, what did it say?
I can't tell you.
A secret, huh?
Yes.
I see. Connolly, this girl's for Bellevue.
Well, Sergeant, the plain fact is that it happened just like that. 10 witnesses all agree it did.
Are you trying to tell me there was such a thing as this whirring hummingbird of a saucer?
Oh, there was that, Sergeant.
And just how do you know, Connolly?
We got the thing out in a squad car. Bennett is bringing it in right now, see? About 36 inches across it is and covered with strange markings.
Holy mackerel, you call the bomb squad?
Oh, I didn't think of it.
Well, think of it, man. This may be some kind of atomic weapon the Reds are sending over.
I'll turn it over to ballistics.
Never mind about ballistics. Call the FBI. Tell them what we got.
Yep.
Now back to X-1 and Saucer of Loneliness.
Now, miss, let me be very frank. I'm not a policeman. I'm a security agent. That means I deal with problems that affect the security of our country. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, we've examined this flying saucer enough to know it is not of American manufacture. It also possesses an extremely high radioactive count. That means it was in an area where radioactive materials are in great abundance, such as an area where atom bombs are made. That's why we want to know the message you received from the saucer.
There was no message.
You just made it up?
Yes.
I'm afraid you're lying. There is a communications device on the saucer, and many people heard it make some sound as it touched you.
Please, just leave me alone.
All you have to do is tell us what the saucer said, and you can go home, and we won't ever bother you again.
No.
Well, gentlemen, we'll get nothing out of her. I don't believe she really knows what that humming noise was. You better have a psychiatrist examine her.
They took her to the city hospital and placed her in a guarded room. Whenever the door opened, she could see the policemen outside. The door opened quite often. There were a lot of important people, some in Army uniforms who came up from Washington just to see her and talk to her. A few days later, she was released from the hospital and returned to court to be tried on the disorderly conduct charge. They found her guilty and fined her $15 and turned her loose. When she walked out of the courtroom, she was handed a subpoena to appear before a congressional committee in a private session. She answered all their questions except one. My newspaper sent me to cover the hearing.
Now, young lady, I want to remind you that I am a senator of the United States and empowered by the people of this country to ask questions relating to matters of security. You understand?
Yes.
Your name is Janet Boyce, is it not?
I told you that.
Now, this flying saucer, you said it talked to you. You did say that, didn't you?
Yes.
And then you denied it.
Yes.
Why?
Because I was tired of answering questions.
Young woman, let me put something to you squarely. By the way, I think if there are members of the press here, I can divulge a rather spectacular piece of information to you. This flying saucer has been thoroughly examined and analyzed. And I wish to inform the people of this great nation that it definitely, I repeat, it definitely did not originate on this planet.
The furor was fantastic, and the contempt trial that followed was spectacular. She was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. 6 months ago, she was released. I found out she'd gotten a job cleaning at night in offices and stores down near the beachfront. There weren't many to clean, but that meant there weren't many people to remember her face from the newspapers. I tracked her down and caught up with her in a one-armed coffee joint about 4 a.m.
Excuse me, miss. Mind if I sit here?
No. Which are you? Security, newspapers, or just somebody out for a good time?
You're pretty bitter, aren't you?
Shouldn't I be?
I guess you should. My name's Jason Beniades. I'm with the newspaper.
Well, it's been nice meeting you. I have to go now.
Just a minute.
Now, please.
Look. I can't blame you. Please tell me how it's been.
So you can write about it?
I promise you I won't write anything you don't want me to write.
Okay. You want to know how it's been? I'll tell you. Right after I got out of jail, I met a man at a restaurant. A nice man. He asked me for a date. I spent every cent I had on a red handbag to go with my red shoes. And I was very excited about the date. We went to a movie. Afterward, he didn't even try to kiss me or anything. He just wanted to know what the flying saucer had told me. Oh, I didn't say anything. I just went home and cried all night.
That was it?
Oh, no. I had another date. I get pretty lonely. This time they arrested the man I was with. He was a Russian agent.
I'm sorry.
Now you go away and leave me alone.
Yes.
Aren't you going to ask me the big question?
No.
Everybody does.
Not me.
Oh, you will sooner or later.
Maybe. Look, can I take you home?
No.
Can I see you again?
Look,
Please.
Oh, I don't know. I'm afraid to let myself like anyone.
Try me. Make it your last chance. Trust me. Will you?
I'm not sure.
Maybe?
Maybe.
I'll wait here for you tomorrow night.
All right.
The next night, I went back to the coffee joint to wait for her. I knew she got through about 4 in the morning, and I got there about 15 minutes early.
Mr. Benavides?
Yes. Say, you're the chief of security section, aren't you?
You have a good memory. You mind if I sit down?
Well, I'm expecting somebody.
Yes, I know.
Oh, I see.
I'd like to talk to you.
All right. Go ahead.
You probably know that we've been trying to gain the confidence of this girl for some years now.
Yes.
We have reason to believe that this girl is a courier for some alien power.
On what do you base that?
Well, there was the incident of the saucer, of course. We've definitely established that it came from some other planet. And recently, she's been throwing messages inside bottles into the ocean.
Oh. What sort of messages?
They're always the same. I have one right here. You're welcome to read it and see if it makes any sense. We've had every decoding expert in the service trying to break it, but we can't seem to find the key.
I see.
She's thrown literally hundreds of these messages and bottles into the sea. We've got many of them, but not all, naturally. What we're most interested in is locating the contact.
Naturally.
That's where you fit in. We'd like you to gain this girl's confidence even further. Try to find out just what these messages mean. And beyond that, what the saucer said to her. You'll be doing us a favor. And your country a great service.
You're certain this is some subversive activity on her part?
How else can you explain the fact that she won't tell us her secret?
Maybe because it's hers. Everybody has a right to have something of his own.
Are you trying to tell me that you won't cooperate?
I didn't say that.
I'd like to remind you, Mr. Benavides, that you have a duty to us.
I know that. I also have a duty to myself and to God. Now, if you'll excuse me. I folded the bottle message and put it in my pocket and waited for her to show up. The minutes went by and the hours, and I knew she wasn't coming. Or she had come and seen me with the chief and changed her mind. And that's when I left the cafe and walked down to the beach. That's when I had dragged her out of the surf before she could follow one of her bottles into the water. How do you feel now? You cold?
Why should you care?
Oh, I do.
Is that why you were sitting with the security chief in the cafe?
I didn't arrange that meeting. He asked me to spy on you.
I suppose he told you about the bottles.
Yes.
Oh, I wonder how much of the taxpayers' money they've spent gathering them up. What they wanted was a new weapon, you see. Some super scientific super science from some alien super race. Science, that's all they think of.
Well, it's pretty important.
Would it have ever occurred to them that this super race from another planet might have super feelings or super longings or super loneliness? Oh, no, all they think about is weapons. Well, isn't it time you asked me what the saucer said?
No.
Well, they all ask me.
I don't have to ask you. I know.
You know?
Yeah. Let me read it to you. There is in certain living souls a quality of loneliness unspeakable. So great it must be shared, as company is shared by lesser beings. Such a loneliness is mine. So know by this that in immensity there is one lonelier than you.
How did you know?
It's the message you put in the bottles. The same message that some lonely, strange being in some other world put into a bottle. Only his bottle was a flying saucer and sent across space to you.
You knew.
I'm lonely, too. Look at me. I've never had the love of a woman. They think I'm pretty ugly. I have beautiful thoughts in my head, but I write trash. I have this nose.
Oh, you're not ugly.
You know, I don't feel ugly right now.
Say it again. The message from the saucer.
Know by this that in immensity there is one lonelier than you.
I wonder if whoever first wrote it has found someone.
I think perhaps he has.
Fred Collins speaking, and I'll have another word for you about X-1 in a moment.
I like to look deep into the human heart with my camera. So speaks Margaret Burke White, one of the outstanding photographers of our time. Perhaps you remember one of her favorite pictures, the tremendously moving photograph of two South African gold miners sweltering in dank airlessness deep under Africa's green hills. We agree with Miss White that all the sorrow of mankind is in the miners' eyes. And what if those miners could speak? What is the story behind their sorrow? This is the objective of the program we call Life and the World, to add new dimensions in sound to the picture stories in each week's issue of Life magazine, to bring you the actual voices of the people most intimately associated with stories of human interest gathered from the four corners of the earth. This is Frank Blair inviting you to keep a rendezvous with life and the world every weeknight over most of these NBC stations.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the Gordon R. Dixon short story, Robots Are Nice. To Jim Harvey, at least, robots weren't the least bit nice. He had a feeling they had something up their sleeve valves, and in time he found out what it was. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you Saucer of Loneliness, a story written by Theodore Sturgeon and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in our cast were Lynn Cook as Jason Benavides and Lydia Bruce as the girl. Others in our cast were Joseph Bell, Harvey Hayes, Ross Martin, and Roger DeKoven. This is Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
You'll be on the right line for exciting nighttime entertainment when you hear Nightline tonight over most of these NBC stations.
One and a half miles below the surface of the South Pacific Ocean. 1.5 miles under the water, away from the daylight and the air that's so precious to all of us. That is the position of the stolen Euclidean submarine, in which Mrs. Gregory, Captain Tex Bradford, Jerry Hall, and Joan Gregory are trying to escape from the Magic Island. It would seem that they've done a fair job of escaping, as they're now 500 miles from the strange island. But things are not going along any too well, and Captain Bradford, left in control of the submarine, while Jerry and Joan are resting in the stern section, is admitting to Mrs. Gregory that he doesn't feel very happy about the situation.
I know you have complete confidence in Joan's knowledge of these Euclidean machines, but is it safe to stand still right here?
I think it's a lot safer to stand still than to run a machine I don't know much about, into something I know nothing about.
Well, are we securely anchored?
We are, but it wouldn't matter if we weren't. Have you any idea, Pat, what the pressure is under 9,000 feet of water?
Why, I know it must be enormous. But
You bet it's enormous. And we won't do any drifting, except for some current might move us a little. And Joan reminded us that currents are scarce along here, so we're safe.
9,000 feet below the surface of the sea. And safe?
Joan says so, and she knows.
I wonder.
Wonder?
Yes. Wonder if we're not putting too much confidence in all of these Euclidean inventions.
Well, so far they've done everything that was claimed for them. They're perfect as far as I can see.
Is anything made by man ever really perfect?
No, of course not. We've seen enough of these things to know that we're better off with them than we would be without them.
When we're in such a position as this, yes. And what worries me most is that we're always in such a position. That's what makes Euclidia so terrifying and fascinating. It would be almost worth going over to their way of thinking to assure your safety.
Now, Pat, you're incurably romantic. And you're looking at all this as something very wonderful. I warned you when we started on this cruise that there wasn't any such thing as magic. But every time Jerry called that weird colony a magic island, you took it for granted. These scientists aren't magicians, Pat. And they aren't friendly or warm or reasonable. They're hard and bitter and clever and cruel.
How do we know that they are?
What?
How do we know that they're all those things?
They've kept us pretty tightly imprisoned for some time, haven't they?
Have they ever harmed us, though?
Those ray guns?
Oh, those ray guns have done nothing more to any of us than just to put us to sleep.
Even so, I'd just as soon pick out my own times to take a nap.
Oh, of course, Tex. It's a little surprising to drop off to sleep suddenly when someone else wants you to. But what I'm getting at is something larger than that. The real reason behind all the activities of G47 and his scientists.
That's easy enough. They're building up the greatest collection of mechanical and electrical devices the world has ever known. And when they complete their work, they'll simply take the world over.
But might the world not be better off?
Better off?
Yes. If all the nations were controlled equally, it might be a means to prevent war.
Yes, it might. But I'll bet G47 hasn't any such beautiful ideas.
Well, I believe he has.
You think that bunch of scientists have buried themselves out here in the Pacific Ocean to spend their lives thinking up things beneficial to the world?
Why not? Scientists have been giving their lives to help the world since histories have been recording their doing.
Yes, I know, Pat, but...
And we haven't any reason to think otherwise of G47 and his men.
You've certainly suffered a change of heart since our first landing on Euclidia.
I've learned a lot about the Euclideans.
So have I, and I don't care much about them.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tex. I didn't mean to start an argument with you. It's just that... I can't express exactly how I feel.
Well, don't let it worry you. We've been under such a strain for the last few weeks that everything is out of proportion. You'll be able to organize your ideas when we get home.
When we get home. Home. Only a little matter of 3,500 miles, and we're hurrying home by standing still, firmly anchored under 1.5 miles of water.
Well, Joan said it was best to remain anchored for a while, because she and Jerry had to have some rest. And navigating a submarine at this depth is something about which she knows a whole lot more than I do.
Oh, very well. I suppose there's nothing more to do.
And I'll call the youngsters to take over in a few minutes, and then we'll get out of their way and let them handle it.
12C to J24Y. Johnson to Gregory Boat.
Tex, it's Johnson.
Yes, go ahead.
To Bradford. I've not been able to raise you. Answer if you can hear my signal. J12C to J24Y. J12C at Wilmington to Gregory Boat.
Couldn't we answer him, Tex?
Joan said no.
But the Euclideans have opposition anyhow.
We don't know if they have it exactly.
J12C to Bradford. Johnson to Gregory Boat. Waiting for instructions from you before proceeding with plan. Can you hear me?
What does that mean, Tex? Waiting for instructions before proceeding with plan?
It sounds as if it meant that he was waiting to hear from me before compounding the formula and organizing our party to return to Euclidia.
Well, he should know better than that. Johnson doesn't need any instructions from you or anyone else to do the things he will have to do.
Exactly. Then his message means something else entirely.
What else could it mean?
That's what I don't know. Unless... Yes, that might be it.
What, Tex?
Those Euclideans. They have agents all over the world. Johnson may have found that they have someone watching him in Los Angeles.
In that case, they might take the formula away from him.
Yes, and in that case, Johnson would be smart enough to keep the formula hidden and do nothing without hearing from us.
But he may be in danger. Those men mean business.
I thought you were ready to believe they had only good intentions.
Why, I think they mean to use their inventions for good, but I'm even more sure that they wouldn't stop at anything to gain your formula. I wish we could warn Johnson of our position.
Well, it can't be done, Pat, so we'll just have to be patient.
Well, if we can receive his radio messages in safety, How could it do any harm to send him one?
They might learn a lot more on the island by intercepting our messages than they would from Johnson's.
I suppose so.
Have you had a message from Johnson?
Tex, it's Joan. They must be awake.
I'll say we're awake. What's going on there?
Well, suppose you and Joan hurry up forward and we'll tell you.
We will join you in the control section at once.
Perhaps Joan will know how to get a message to Johnson.
Perhaps, or she may agree that we'd better take a chance and send it, even if the Euclideans do hear us.
Boy, I sure got a lot more sleep on that steel mattress than I expected to get.
How many times have I told you that everything designed by the Euclideans would perform its appointed tasks perfectly?
And how many times have I told you that I'm not so crazy about everything the Euclideans do?
Now, you two forget your argument for a minute and listen to us.
Certainly, Captain.
Okay, Tex. What do you want?
We've just had a message from Johnson.
Yes, it might be mighty important that we get an answer to him at once.
Hey, this boat isn't moving, is it?
Obviously not.
Well, Tex thought it better to anchor. We were making only 2 or 3 knots.
You were wise, Captain Bradford. We may ride safely at anchor here for an indefinite period.
Okay, never mind about how safe we are. What about Johnson?
He's apparently in some sort of trouble. Or at least we figured that from the unusual wording of his message.
What did he say?
He said he was making no attempt to complete our plans until he heard from us.
And that is not logical?
Far from it. Johnson knows everything to do exactly as we would do it ourselves. And when he seems uncertain, he's got a good reason for it.
Hey, how about sending him a message, Joan?
That depends entirely on Captain Bradford's view of the matter. If this is serious enough to warrant it, we must send a message.
Well, I think it's serious enough to warrant doing anything we have to do.
Then we will send a message to Johnson.
But, Tex, what wavelength did you get his message on?
3 meters. That's the best on our side at home.
J12C to J24Y. If you are getting this, listen carefully, as this may be my last message for some time. Danger threatens original plan.
Danger?
Quiet, Pat.
Radio tampered with. Safety deposit. Formula. Do not come to. Stay away from. John.
Hey, something's wrong.
What happened to the radio?
It was not this radio.
Something happened to Johnson's set. He said danger threatens. Then the set started to cut out. I didn't get the rest of his message.
I thought he started to say stay away from Los Angeles.
Yes, I heard that.
This should be a time for great accuracy. Johnson started to say, do not come to Los Angeles.
Well, that was the idea anyhow. He tried to say something about the formula.
And he mentioned safety deposit. Tex, the formula.
Yes, Pat, it's in a safety deposit box at the bank. But no one will ever get it.
Euclideans will find it comparatively simple to enter any bank in your world and take from it anything they may desire.
Oh, golly. I guess that's right.
Oh, Tex, your formula, they know where it is.
Yeah, I'm afraid they do.
Oh, and they'll get it.
Oh, no, they won't.
They will easily get into your vault at the bank.
Yes, and if they do, they may get their clothes taken off, or worse, for their trouble.
Gee, Tex, how have you got it protected?
Most natural way in the world. I've protected the formula with some of the compound.
You've actually placed some of your universal solvent in that vault at the bank?
Right. The bank officials cooperated with me in giving me a small, unused section of an old vault. And the solvent is so located there that any disturbance or opening the vault with anything except the combinations known only to Johnson and myself will bring together the 2 portions of the formula. The universal solvent will be compounded immediately, and flowing over the written formula will destroy it in a fraction of a second.
You are well protected, Captain, and your foresight is admirable.
Oh, you bet. That was a good idea, too.
Then you're not worried about your formula, Tex?
Not much, but I am worried about what they may have done to Johnson in trying to get the formula from him.
Hey, Tex, let's call him on the radio. You know, even if his set's gone bad, it'll help him just to know we heard him and we're on our way to California.
May we, Joan, dear?
The emergency warrants the risk. I will attempt to raise Johnson. He was on 3 meters?
Correct, Joan?
I'm turning all reserve electrical power in the entire boat into this transmitter. You may now reach Johnson with ease, Captain.
I'll try it. J24Y to J12C. J24Y to J12C. Bradford to Johnson. Gregory boat to Wilmington. Hello, Johnson. We got your last message. Do nothing until...
J24Y. J12C to J24Y.
Oh, that isn't Johnson.
Gregory Land Station
Sounds
calling
funny to
Gregory
me.
boat. You will answer if you are hearing me, Bradford.
Hey,
Answer at once.
sounds like one of those Euclideans.
That is one of the most brilliant and most dangerous of all the Euclidean scientists. Thales, the chief electrical authority in the world today.
I am fully aware that
Euclidean
you
and our
are
whole
listening,
radio.
Bradford. You will gain nothing by attempting to conceal your position. Your entire course is watched. I will give you 10 seconds to answer me. 10 seconds for the combination of the vault where your formula is kept. Think rapidly, Captain Bradford. You have only 10 seconds.
Tex, will you answer him?
Don't do it, Tex. He's bluffing.
I think we may safely defy him.
We'll risk it, and we won't answer him.
But he said 10 seconds. What can he do to us?
We'll know in a couple of seconds.
You have had your chance. Now you will never see your homes again, nor will you return to Euclidia. You will never leave the floor of the ocean where your submarine now lies. You have failed.
We last saw Jerry Hall, Joan Gregory, Captain Bradford, and Mrs. Gregory anchored in 1.5 miles of water where their stolen Euclidean submarine was apparently quite safe from immediate harm or Euclidean pursuit. Once more, however, the Gregory party has occasion to learn that no one is ever completely safe or free from Euclidia, the magic island. After several vain attempts, they received a message from Johnson, who is in Los Angeles. But Johnson's message was anything but cheerful. Something is threatening the captain's precious formula, and Johnson's message is interrupted by a strange voice.
I am fully aware that you are listening, Captain Bradford. You will gain nothing by attempting to conceal your position. Your entire course is watched. I will give you 10 seconds to answer me. 10 seconds for the combination of the vault where your formula is kept. Think rapidly, Captain Bradford. You have only 10 seconds.
Tex, will you answer him?
Don't do it. He's bluffing.
I think we may safely defy him.
We'll risk it, and we won't answer him.
But he said 10 seconds. What can he do to us?
We'll know in a couple of seconds.
You have had your chance. Now you will never see your homes again, nor will you return to Euclidia. You will never leave the floor of the ocean where your submarine now lies. You have failed.
Sub's going to fill up with water.
Joan will be drowned.
All of you remain in your places. We'll suffer no damage.
Isn't there something we could be doing, Joan?
Merely remain in your places. I will do everything necessary.
Well, whatever you're going to do it quick. That water looks mighty wet to me.
We are now quite safe. You may rest assured that nothing further will happen to us.
But, Joan, you said that before, and something has certainly just happened to us.
I'll say something's happened, but what was it?
The submarine was shaken by violent shocks, just as it was when those magnetic bombs were released from that Euclidean plane.
Well, no magnetic bomb ever got down to this depth.
You are correct, Captain Bradford. So the action on this submarine was much the same. We were located by the radio power beam from the island.
The power beam? Why, Joan, you don't mean that those scientists are able to send a burst of destructive power along a radio beam?
They can do everything else.
Then we invited that when we took a chance on answering Johnson's call on the radio.
Precisely.
But if we were not harmed, what is the effect of that beam?
The effect on us is probably negligible, as I was fortunate enough to be able to surround this boat with protection in time to prevent the beam hurting our outer shell to any extent. Though we will find a number of indentations in the metal.
You mean that radio beam thing hit us hard enough to put dents in the side of this submarine?
Precisely.
But, Joan, that would mean that the force of that radio beam was greater than the pressure of this water at a depth of 9,000 feet.
It was considerably greater.
Well, golly whiskers! What kind of protection could you surround the submarine with that would keep that kind of pressure from smashing us?
The protection is made up of the same elements as the destructive power beam. I merely released several of our magnetic bombs on the cross to Euclidia. And the explosion you heard was the meeting of the magnetic bombs and the power beam from Euclidia.
But, Joan, that Euclidean we heard threatening us was in Los Angeles. You say you interrupted that destructive beam coming from Euclidia?
I don't understand that either.
It should be quite obvious.
Well, maybe it should be, but it isn't as far as I'm concerned.
Does it not occur to you that an agent of Euclidia would hardly have the opportunity of setting up apparatus for the transmission of such a beam in the same room in which Johnson was working?
The same room?
Yes, Tex. Joan must be right. We heard Johnson's voice. Then he sounded as if he were in trouble. And then this other voice came over our set. It must have been our set.
Undoubtedly.
But where did that radio beam thing come from?
From Euclidia.
Oh, I'm beginning to see it, Joan. Euclidia was listening in on our two-way radio talk and getting our position logged accurately. Then when that Euclidean in Los Angeles finished his little speech, they turned on the beam from the island.
That would be it, Captain Bradford.
And now every scientist on that magic island knows exactly where we are.
And I suppose they will start moving in on us from all directions.
They will attempt to do that, of course. But we will reach Los Angeles in safety.
But we're losing so much time. And Johnson may be in danger.
No doubt about that, but we couldn't get there in time to help him anyway.
That is true. Mr. Johnson will have to care for his own safety until we arrive. In the meantime, we may make ourselves comfortable.
Comfortable? Swell place for it.
Now, Joan, as you think our best move is to do nothing for a while, perhaps you take this time to give us a little explanation about that Euclidean fellow who managed to get so close to Johnson in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Who is he?
I am sure the voice we heard over Johnson's radio was that of Thales, chief electrical scientist on Euclidia.
Another of those weird names derived from some ancient scientist, I suppose.
To be sure. Thales bears his name in honor of the original Thales, philosopher of ancient Greece. Thales lived 2,600 years ago and was the founder of modern electrical research.
I thought Benjamin Franklin and his kite discovered all that.
No, I'm afraid Thales lived slightly before Franklin.
Yes, quite a while. So the Euclidean chief electrician is in our country.
It would seem so, Captain Bradford. Thales is powerful. Perhaps the most clever man on Euclidia. Many believe him to be superior to G47.
Well, he sure got these electrical rays of his trained. If they'll run along the ocean floor for 600 miles and bump our submarine around.
You appear to have made something of a study of this man, Thales. The original, I mean. Have the Euclideans any proof as to how far he progressed with his studies 2,600 years ago?
Euclideans have made more extensive research than any other mortal men. Thales was credited with discovering the electron, the Greek word given to common frictional or static electricity, though there is no evidence to show that he even dreamed of the electron as we know it today.
I never even met an electron.
You've met a lot of them, Jerry, but maybe you didn't recognize them.
And I'm as much in the dark as Jerry. John knows so many things of which we are ignorant. I can still remember learning in school that Benjamin Franklin discovered electricity.
Your schools must be sadly lacking.
Oh, I don't know. We get along all right. I think it's a lot better to know that Edison invented electric light than to worry about some Greek who rubbed the cat's back to knock out a few sparks before America was discovered.
Thales did not rub a cat's back to get sparks. The earliest experiments were performed with pieces of amber and cloth.
Okay, but why?
And Thomas Edison did not invent or discover the electric light.
He did, too.
Joan, are you sure of what you're saying?
Naturally.
Well, now, let's not get into an argument over it. For all practical purposes, Edison improved the electric light and made it really practical after the invention of the dynamo about 1870. But there undoubtedly were attempts made before that.
I never heard of them.
In the year 1800, the principle of the electric light was discovered by Sir Humphrey Davy, who made a successful arc light with batteries and charcoal. And that was 47 years before Thomas Edison was born.
Oh, I give up. You know too blame much for me.
No, don't feel badly about it, Jerry. Joan apparently knows more than any of us. But we can do nicely in our world without quite so much knowledge.
You mean we will do nicely in our world when we get back to it. But in the meantime, we're very much in Joan's world. Let's give her a free hand in working this thing out.
Is that sensible? What would you suggest, Joan?
For the moment, nothing.
Huh. I could have thought of that.
Nothing is easily thought of, but many people do not know how to do it well.
You're certainly right there, Joan. And one of the worst faults we have is impatience.
A great deal of patience will be needed before we are safely in California. Now, if you will all remain perfectly still, I will open the beam testing devices in the radio receiver, one by one, and we may check Euclidean waves without danger.
You mean you will be able to tell if they're still sending out radio impulses from the island?
Precisely. And as it makes it very difficult to observe this with our transmission channel closed, you must all maintain absolute silence while I test the various beams.
I'll keep quiet.
We'll not make a sound until you give us permission, Joan. Go to it.
Very well. Silence.
Hey, my ears! Stop that thing! Stop it!
Jerry, what's the matter with you?
Oh, my ears. My head aches. Gosh, that noise.
I didn't hear anything to make your headache, Jerry. Just one of those carrier waves Joan tuned into.
No, it wasn't. Gee, my head still aches. It's that same note. You remember, Joan?
Yes, Jerry, I remember. But you have forgotten.
What did I forget?
To remain silent. Now our position is definitely established on the island.
Oh, Jerry, they heard you over the radio.
Oh, yeah. I guess they did.
How quickly did you shut off the microphone?
Almost instantly. But Jerry's voice undoubtedly was registered at Euclidia, and probably with Thales on the mainland. Now they will know we have not moved since our last message.
Oh, gee. I'm sure sorry. But I couldn't stand that one sound hammering in my ears.
I don't understand about that, Jerry.
I will explain it in a moment. First, I will refuel and get the submarine in motion. Our progress will be slow, but at least we may change our position a fraction of a minute in latitude. Now I will explain why that seemingly innocent sound should disturb Jerry so badly.
Well, why didn't it bother any of the rest of us?
Oh, that's my keystone note.
Your what, Jerry?
Joan can tell you better than I can.
Jerry and I have neglected to explain one Euclidean experiment we witnessed on our way to this submarine.
You two manage to learn something every time you get lost on that island. All Pat and I saw was a bunch of doors that we couldn't manage.
Well, we got mixed up in them, too. It was when we opened one of them that we heard the old deaf guy practicing music.
A deaf man practicing music?
I will explain it. We accidentally opened the door of the musical laboratory where Octavo was conducting his experiment.
Was that his name, Octavo?
For Octavius, who was credited with arranging the musical scale?
Mother, you knew.
Well, we have learned one or two things, Joan, but go ahead.
Jerry and I stood in the doorway, observing the old man as he tapped on vessels containing varying levels of water, sounding a true note with each. At last, he struck the note to which Jerry's consciousness is tuned, and Jerry had a severe headache.
Yeah, just like I had when that note came out of the radio.
That is being done deliberately?
Well, I'd say so. Same principle as a musical note wrecking a bridge, isn't it, Joan?
Precisely. And while Jerry may be uncomfortable from the effects of his note, I think we have nothing to fear unless they discover the keystone note of this submarine.
Joan, they might find a note which would destroy this boat.
More than that, they are sure to find it. Our only hope is to reach Los Angeles before they succeed.
And if we don't make it in time?
Then a single note of music will end this voyage.
Now, step into the incredible, amazing future as we go exploring tomorrow. And now, here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
Last night, as I was going up the stair, I met a little man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. My gosh, I wish he'd go away. I think it was Gillette Burgess who penned those immortal lines. How do you get rid of a little man who isn't there in the first place? Well, Peter Manson was a physicist, a scientist. And his trouble started with a little man who wasn't there. Submatrix X integrated to pi over 2 plus confound. May I come in, Mr. Manson? Why, thank you. Are you alone? Yes. Well, then she hasn't arrived yet. I wasn't expecting anybody. Oh, I am, but if she isn't here yet, I'll have some time to explain. Who is it? One thing at a time, sir. Now, first, have you ever considered the problem of time travel? Time travel? Why, that's impossible. Oh, now don't say impossible because you invented it. I've done nothing of the sort. History says you did. What history? History says that you invented time travel machinery and applied for a United States patent on June 16, 1964. What history? That's 6 years from now. Oh, but not from my point of view. You see, I've used one of your own time machines to come back from your future, 50 years through my past to this date, your present. Do you understand? You claim you have traveled 50 years through time? I am here. That's proof. I don't believe a word of it. Well, look them over. This is your own personal notebook, 50 years later than it is now. Actually, that's the same one that's on your desk right now. Now, this is a copy of your patent. Now, these documents say I'm right. I say so. You see, in my day, you are the wealthy and famous Peter Manson. Well, do you want my autograph? You may be right, but I'm not wealthy yet. Oh, I'm not after anything. I'm here to help you. I don't need any help. Do you know the first thing about your future? Of course not. Well, I do. I know just about everything that you're going to do in the next 50 years. Prove it. What am I going to do next? You are about to be introduced to the woman who will become your wife. I already know her. We're engaged. Oh, you mean Laura Phillips? Well, no doubt she's a nice enough girl, but she's not for you. You'll break that engagement shortly. I'll do no such thing. History says you did. Not will do. Did. But you... Yes. Yes, Laura. No, Laura, not... But, Laura... Tell her now and get it over with. You shut up. No, Laura, I didn't mean you. No. No, Laura, she's not here. She hung up. Oh, wouldn't listen to you, huh? And that's your fiancée. She wouldn't do that. Oh, Miss Carter. Now, we've been expecting you. Please come in.
All right, but just for a minute. No, Harry, you wait by the door, but stay close.
Now, Miss Amelia Carter, may I present... Get that dame out of here.
Dame?
Please, now, this is hardly a way to start a lifetime.
Lifetime?
Yes, history says so. 50 years and still going when I left. Now, stop this hostility. You might as well save time, too. Now, start off with the first names. Amelia, this is Peter. Peter, be nice to Amelia. You really should be gracious, generous, anxious to create a good first impression. Don't tell me how to behave. Don't you blow a fuse, Grandpa. Grandpa! I am Peter Emil Manson III, your grandson. Note that the middle name is the masculine form of Amelia, your wife, my grandmother.
Grandmother?
Yes, indeed. Your son is my father.
But I'm not married yet.
Oh, but you will be. Now, Grandpa, you sit here. Cut this grandpa stuff right now. Well, I'm sorry, but I've been taught that it's impolite to call my grandparents by their given names. Of course, you don't look much like the old duffer that I know as Grandpa. Oh, now, Grandpa, calm down and you start making like romance. You know, you're not even engaged to Grandma yet.
Don't call me Grandma.
Pardon me, it is impertinent, but you are quite a dish. Now that I've seen you in your youth, I can understand why Grandpa threw over this Laura Phillips girl. I can hardly believe that you'll become that sweet little old lady.
Mr. Manson, what's he talking about?
He's a time traveler from the future who says he can prove that we met, got married, and...
Now, don't go any further.
I'm afraid he's right. He says it's history, and we can't change history, can we?
But I hardly know you.
Well, if you'd known each other, I wouldn't have to introduce you, would I?
Maybe somebody'd better explain this to me.
Ah, fine. Now we're off to a start. Highball, Grandmother?
Yeah, I think I need one.
Now a little more romantic setting. Soft lights now. And now I'll leave you two to canoodle a bit. I've other things.
But Harry!
I'll take care of Harry. That'll be Laura. Run high. Do something. Oh, relax. I'll take care of everything. Of course, Peter Manson wasn't the only one having trouble with the little man who wasn't there. No, the future cannot be handled logically. It's logically impossible because... it doesn't exist yet. And if it doesn't exist, then obviously it isn't logical. But it's going to exist, so... Well, you see what I mean. Logic is just hopeless. I should ought to clobber you. Oh, now be reasonable, Harry. It wouldn't prove anything. But Amelia's my girl. Get over it, Harry. They're probably arranging their engagement right now.
You meddler.
I am not a meddler, Laura. I'm just an instrument of fate.
Fate? Poor Peter thrown to that blonde lion.
Oh, you stop calling my girl names, you hear? You're acting like a pair of spoiled children. Now, stop it. I regret that you've lost your loves, but really no one ever actually died of unrequited love. Mine wasn't unrequited. Well, it might as well be once they're happily married.
Happily married?
Well, you wouldn't want them unhappy, would you?
No, I'd like a little happiness myself.
Well, so would we all. But stop and think. Now, if a number of human lives depended upon your giving up a love affair, would you go on selfishly and marry the man anyway?
Well, that's hardly fair.
Well, then I'll put it up to Harry. Harry, if your own life depended upon preventing a wrong marriage, would you stand by and let them go ahead? Make your own point. You're the meddler. All right. My life depends upon it. My father's life depends upon it. Unless Peter Manson and Amelia Carter marry, neither my father nor I can be born. Now, knowing this, I used my grandfather's time machine, came back to give a formal introduction. Now, you can't blame me for wanting to live, so I came back and I fixed it up.
Yes, you're a great little fixer-upper.
Maybe we should ought to fix you up and then go on as we please about it. You don't know much about time and history, do you? No, but I could make up a... You could not. You could not change a thing.
Why not?
If your father and mother had never met, could you have been born?
Oh, don't be utterly ridiculous.
Now, don't ever be scornful of stating a simple fact. I exist, therefore I am. Now, say it as you please. To you, Peter and Amelia will marry. To me, Peter and Amelia married 50 years ago. Now, the sensible thing to do is to accept the fact. Wipe it off the slate. Pick up the pieces and go on from there.
Such as?
Well, now, you're both very attractive people. You have a common bond of memory.
Ain't
my type.
Well, I looked at better myself.
Oh, Gad, this is a primitive era. Tell folks what's best for them, and they want to... What is the term, Harry?
Clobber you.
Yes, that's right. Clobber me.
That's the best idea I've heard all night. No, not here. Outside, where I can stop being a lady. Then I'll help you.
Well, you can beat me up, but you can't change something that's already happened. Now, can you?
Look, I've taken all I can. I'm going home.
Can I? That is a fine practical arrangement. Find sympathy in one another. It's the better thing to do. And maybe you'll find happiness with one another, too.
Can't we get out of this, Smith?
Well, if I cut my throat, I can't invent the time machine, and then he couldn't come back and mess up our lives by forcing me to marry you.
You'd rather commit suicide than marry me.
Oh, now, Amelia, stop it. That's not so.
Oh, so you'd rather marry me than commit suicide.
Oh, stop the bawling and let me think.
Peter, do you think he'd go away if we made it look like everything was running smooth?
What do you mean?
Well, suppose we stopped squabbling and complaining and made up to one another so he'd think we were happy and convinced that he's worried. Maybe he'd be satisfied and go back where he came from. Then we could do as we please.
Won't work.
Why not?
That character is our grandson, Amelia. Already he knows what we're going to do.
Well, aren't you even willing to try?
I'll try, but it's futile. What did you have in mind?
Well, I just know he's coming back tonight. We could make it look as if we'd been getting acquainted.
Well, what have we been doing for the past couple of hours playing tiddly... Hey, let go, my God.
Oh, just looking up a little. If we're really getting acquainted, we'd not look as if we've been sitting with folded hands. Hey, stop that.
Well, if you really loved me, you wouldn't mind my mussing up your hairdo then.
All right. There. Now we look like we've been wrestling. Where's my bag?
What for?
Lipstick. You should have a few smears.
Well, with you looking like a magazine cover, lipstick is a two-way smear, right?
Oh, yeah. I suppose so.
You sound as though Harry was the only man you ever kissed.
If we ever get around to it, Peter Manson, you'll be the only man that's ever been kissed just because history said he had to be. So there? So I got it.
All right. Once for history.
Let's see you now.
You need more of the spread.
You need a touch right there. Hold still a minute.
There's one thing history didn't mention.
What, Peter?
History didn't say this could be fun.
Peter, it'd be funny, wouldn't it?
What could be funny?
This trick worked.
And then?
You and me found out after he'd gone that we really did like it.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Peter?
Yes?
Open up the door.
Yeah, so let him wait. Now remember to look flustered.
And try to wipe your face, too.
Well, I see everything's progressing fine.
All right, now, go away.
Oh, I'm not going to stay. I just wanted to see how things were getting along. I know when I'm not wanted.
Then why did you come here in the first place?
Well, you think you hate me for my interference, but you wait and remember. In 50 years, the pair of you will be sending me off in my time machine to do this job of fixing up. And you, Grandma...
Stop calling me Grandma!
Still my Grandma, and you'll tell me that you and Grandpa actually wasted your first kisses trying to fool me into leaving. So now I'll trot along, but I'll be back tomorrow. And don't you keep her out too late, Grandpa.
What'd you do with Harry?
Oh, I fixed that up fine. Harry volunteered to escort Grandpa's former girlfriend to her home.
Harry and Laura?
Laura with Harry?
Peter?
Yes, Amelia.
To heck with history. Kiss me once. For me?
Oh, for goodness sake, it's 3 o'clock.
I know what time it is.
But
What I want to know is what you're doing.
I'm trying to think.
Yes, you look as if you've got it all settled.
Oh, what can I do?
You might wash that blonde hussy's magenta lipstick off your silly face.
Now, Laura, I can explain.
I'm listening. Convince me that you got all smeared up without enjoying it.
Come on, convince me.
You went home with Harry to Beef Trust, didn't you?
Well, I didn't see anyone around making me another offer.
But I will.
I know. Working like a little beaver, making history come out right.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Bang my head against brick walls, tilt at windmills? Confounded, am I the only one around here with sense enough to know when I'm licked?
Well, you might not be so completely licked if Amelia Carter were as ugly as a mud fence.
Well, it does make my defeat less difficult to bear.
Well, make it complete, then. Have this expanded to fit her pudgy little hand.
My ring. But, Laura, what...
Goodbye, Peter.
Wait, don't go.
What's to stay for? To be a maid of honor?
If you came to quarrel with me, you yourself are doing everything to prove Junior's point. If he were here, he'd be cheering you into hating me and using my telephone for calling Harry to take you home.
Look, I didn't come here to fight with you, Peter. I came here to fight for you. But you're not fighting.
Junior knows all the moves. No matter what I try, everything turns out his way.
It's like your experimental smooching session.
Yeah, that too. He was amused.
I'm not. May have started as a deliberate frame-up, but it certainly ended up ginger peachy for his little old program.
I tell you, he knows every move. He came back here just to tell Amelia and me that you had gone home with Harry.
And 50 years from now, you and Amelia will dodder over to his time machine and kiss your brat of a grandson goodbye as he goes off to make the introduction. That's the program, isn't it?
And what can we do?
Peter, you say everything's fixed and solid. It can't be changed.
Well, that's the way it is.
But let's just suppose that you could quietly unfix Junior's little apple cart.
Well, then we'd go on as if he never arrived.
Well, couldn't you?
I can't prevent what's already happened. He exists. He is. He's here in the flesh.
No. I suppose you can't change that, can you?
No.
Well, then, goodbye, Peter.
Wait a minute, Laura. What if Junior were a different kind of guy?
What do you mean?
Look, Laura, he's the grandson of Amelia and me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't marry Amelia, he doesn't get born. He can't exist unless we follow every move right down to the last letter of the historic record he talks about, right?
Yes, but...
Let's assume that the future is not a firm and solid hunk of recorded history.
Well, everyone but you and Junior have been saying that all along, but you keep pointing at Junior's history book and saying no.
But suppose that Junior's history book is only one of many possible histories.
Then how do you explain his solid existence?
Floating a brick on water is not impossible. It's just extremely unlikely.
Oh, stop sounding like a mathematics professor, Peter. Get to this important point.
Until Junior arrived with his books and his papers to show me, us, how we were going to act, he was rather unlikely as a future probability.
Mm-hmm.
But once he convinces us and introduces me to Amelia, Junior's existence becomes a very strong probability. In other words, he exists because he did the fixing that put history on the road that leads directly to him.
Well... you could rob a bank and get tossed in jail, and that would stop you from marrying anybody.
Well, we can't change things that drastically. But we might slip a little change in Junior's character.
How can we do that?
Suppose we could create another very strong future probability. Mightn't he come back and fight just as strong for his own existence?
But how can you do anything like that?
Laura, would you marry me right here and now?
Peter, at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Peter, it's Junior again. Don't go.
Oh, no.
Well, good morning. I'm in time, I see. You come in. I was hoping you would arrive.
I'm the Reverend Peter Laurel Manson III. You'll notice that my middle name is the masculine form of the given name of my grandmother, Laura.
Peter, here is the other probability.
Precisely.
Let's get along with it quickly before something else happens.
Please, we must not be impatient. There must be witnesses. But I have prepared for everything. Everything. Will you permit me? Do come in. Oh, this is a most auspicious occasion.
Amelia! And Harry, what are they doing here?
People here appear to have forgotten that a man has 4 grandparents.
Well, I'm still a bit confused.
Oh, my dear, if I had not been prepared for this rare and happy occasion, I should be quite disturbed. It isn't often that a man has the opportunity of officiating at a double wedding ceremony uniting his grandparents.
Can you make this stick?
Yes. Now, unless I double-cross this double ceremony, now, Peter, take Laura's hand and stand away over here on my left. Now we all sort it out properly. Fine. History says that Peter and Laura will have a stalwart son. Harry and Amelia will have a fine daughter. Son and daughter are my own parents.
Are you sure?
I arrived a bit late, my dear, because I have been quite a busy man. I made a stopover on my trip through time, pausing long enough to unite in marriage your son with their daughter. It was a lovely wedding.
but that doesn't mean you got to be stuck with any particular maid. There's freedom of choice there. See, the only way you can get rid of the little man who isn't there is to have a different little man not there. That takes care of it.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman. And today, as Clark Kent, he meets an old acquaintance. In danger because one of his gang, a girl named Dixie Lamar, had shot and killed a federal agent, Dr. Bly, the cunning leader of the gang, plotted to pin the murder on Lois Lane, who was almost a perfect physical double for Dixie. Disguised as a press agent, Dr. Bly invited Lois to be guest of honor at Playland, a large amusement park outside Metropolis. And when the girl reporter arrived with Jimmy Olsen and young Dick Grayson, who was really Robin, the companion of Batman, the three were given a ride on the River of Horrors. But as their boat glided through a dark tunnel, a supposedly fake skeleton seized Lois and disappeared. Unable to make a police officer believe their fantastic story, Jimmy and Dick phoned Clark Kent and Batman. But when Kent arrived at the amusement park a few minutes later, the two boys were not there. As we continue now, Kent is pacing nervously before the entrance to the River of Horrors concession as a tall, masked figure wearing a bright blue hood and cape approaches. Listen.
Kent! Clark Kent! Batman, what are you doing here?
I got word that Dick Grayson and Jimmy Olsen were in trouble.
So did I. Have you seen them?
No, not yet. I was to meet them right here in front of the River of Horrors.
Yeah, Jim told me to meet them here, too. He said they'd be waiting for me. I got here about 20 minutes ago, and I haven't seen hide nor hair of them.
That's strange.
Frankly, I don't like it. I spoke to the man who owns this concession, but he says he hasn't seen them.
Uh-huh. I wonder if... Oh, here comes a policeman. If anything happened around here, he ought to know about it.
Right, let's ask him. Officer.
Hey, just a moment, officer.
Sure, and you ought to win the first prize at the Masquerade Carnival tonight, young fella. You look just like the pictures of Batman.
Do I?
That you do. With spitting image. Well, what can I be after doing for you?
Well, look, we were supposed to meet two young boys here, but they haven't shown up. We're afraid they might have run into trouble. Their names are Dick Grayson and Jimmy Olsen. Have you heard anything about them?
Two lads, you say?
Jim is 16. He's about this tall, officer. Thin and wiry and freckle-faced. Dick is a year, maybe two younger.
Sure, they must be the lads who give me the malarkey about the skeleton making off with the young lady.
What? Skeleton? What young lady?
They're the ones, all right. One was skinny and freckled, like you say.
Uh-huh.
And I mind now they called each other Jim and Dick.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, I was coming by here now just to make sure they wasn't getting into no more trouble.
What sort of trouble? Where are they?
It's a trick they tried to play on me, the young spalpeens.
Trick?
Telling me they was in a boat on the River of Horrors. And that when the boat went in the dark tunnel, they said one of them phony skeletons in the wall, it's made out of wooden paper, painted with that luminous stuff, you know, to make it scary.
Yes? Get to the point, officer.
Take it easy. It's only a joke, I tell you. Well... Where was I?
In the tunnel.
Oh, yes. Well, so when they got into the tunnel, they're telling me, one of them phony skeletons grabbed the young lady that was in the boat with him and disappeared right out of this world with her.
Great Scott, that must have been Lois. Lois Lane.
Now, take it easy, Kent. Where did you speak to the boys, officer?
Right here it was.
Where did they go after they spoke to you?
Well, they rushed off to them phone booths there, behind the hot dog stand. They were going to call somebody up.
That's it, Kent.
Something must have happened to prevent their coming back here to meet us. Let's go. You better come along with us, officer.
Come along where?
We're taking a ride through the River of Horrors, right, Kent?
Right. 3, please. That'll be 30 cents. All right, here you are. Come on, you two.
Now, hold on a minute. You fellas don't really believe that stuff about the skeleton.
We're going to see for ourselves. Now, where's that boatman? He was here a moment ago.
We don't need him. Here's an empty boat. Come and hop in. I'll untie it.
Okay. Come on, officer.
That I will. To show you myself, them skeletons couldn't hurt a fly.
Hey, wait a minute. I don't see any oars.
You don't need oars. There's a bit of a current takes the boat along through the tunnel.
Oh, well, all right. I'll push off. Here we go. That's the tunnel up ahead, isn't it?
Yes. And we're wasting our time, as you'll see for yourself in a minute.
I can't understand why Lois didn't tell me that she and Jim were coming here tonight. She acted so mysterious about where she was going.
It's a joke, I tell you. None of them was here.
What do you mean? You said you spoke to the boys.
I mean they didn't go through the River of Horrors. They made that up, too.
What?
And all about a Mr. Hemingway or some such name giving them a free ride.
Say, that's a new angle. Who's Mr. Hemingway?
There isn't any Mr. Hemingway.
There isn't?
Leastwise, it's a sober fact he's not the press agent for this amusement park like them two young rascals said. A heavy-set old man with white hair and dark glasses. That's how they describe him.
They did, eh?
As a matter of fact, the press agent for Playland is a man named Spencer, and he's a young fellow with black hair.
This gets stranger and stranger, Kent.
Yes, and I like it less and less.
Take my word for it, it's just a trick those youngsters was playing.
I don't think so. Well, here's the tunnel.
It's as black as the ace of spades.
I'll say.
Where are the skeletons?
You'll see them in a moment. Each one jumping up out of the walls like a jack-in-the-box. I hope you don't scare easy.
Well, I'll try not to scream. Hey, what's that? Oh, it's a skeleton.
Take a good look before it's gone. You think that could kidnap anybody?
No, that skeleton couldn't. It's made of cheap wood and paper.
There's another one.
Yeah, that's wood and paper, too.
They all are. It's like I told you. Your young friends was having a joke with you like they tried with me, Bad sister.
He may be right, Kent, after all.
Oh, wait a minute. That's funny.
What?
Well, that wire shot out of the wall there with no skeleton attached.
Oh, so what? It might have fallen on.
Yes, it could be, but...
Uh-oh. Sit down, Mr. Kent. You'll tip us all.
What is it, Kent?
I just saw something. Wait a minute. I can reach that wire.
What did you see? What are you stopping the boat for?
I'll show you in a moment. There we are. Now, look.
Look at what? I can't see my hand before my face.
Huh? Oh, yes, I forgot. You have a flashlight, don't you, officer?
That I have. Here we are.
Good. Just shine it on the wall right alongside you, please.
Sure. How's that?
A little more to the right. Oh, that's fine. Hold it. Now, see, Batman?
You bet. An opening in the wall.
Shh, quiet. Keep your voice down.
Where? Sure, and it is. Like a little doorway. No, I didn't know that was there.
How did you ever notice it in the dark, Kent?
I've got pretty sharp eyes, and anyway, I was watching for something like this. What do you say? Let's have a look. Come on.
Right behind you.
You, care to come along, officer?
That I do, Mr. Kent. Not that I think this is important, mind.
Oh, you don't, eh? Well, I think it is. There we are. Okay. Now, officer, lead the way with your flashlight. But be careful. Anything may happen.
You lead the way with my flashlight.
No. Go ahead, officer. We're right behind you.
Anxiously, Clark Kent and Batman step into a low, dark passageway behind Officer Riley, whose flashlight stabs a thin ray through the musty gloom. What will they discover? We'll return in a moment to find out. But first...
Say, did you ever see a dog with wings? No, I'm not kidding, honest. I can tell you right now where you can see a picture of a dog with wings. Sure. It's the lucky insignia of Navy Squadron 14. And that insignia is one of the buttons in the second series put out by Kellogg's Pep. A mighty dramatic-looking insignia it is, too. The dog has a sort of determined expression on his face. Looks like he means business as he leaps at the enemy. There's a brilliant red background, too, to make the button even more colorful and smart-looking. And that's only one of the 22 different buttons in this grand second series. Actually, there are insignia of 8 Army Air Squadrons, 7 Navy Air Squadrons, 3 Marine Air Squadrons, plus 4 warplanes. Why, you'll want to collect every single one of them. And that's easy to do, too, because you don't have to send in any money, not even a box stop. Truth is, you can't buy these buttons anywhere. You just tell your mother you're going to eat lots of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Then she can stock up on it. Every package she opens means a new exciting prize for you, a bright-colored insignia or warplane button. Yes, sir, you'll find a button in every package, and that's the only way you can get 'em. So, gang, don't forget to ask Mom to get you plenty of P-E-P, Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Discovering a small, narrow opening in the tunnel wall on the River of Horrors, Clark Kent left the boat with Batman and Officer Riley and entered a low, pitch-black passageway. Stooping, Kent and Batman proceed in single file behind Riley, whose flashlight sends a cloudy ray through the dank, cobwebby darkness.
I wonder where this passageway leads to, Kent.
I imagine we're under the amusement park now, Batman.
How do you know?
I can see.
You can see?
Huh? Well, I mean, I can hear the music and the crowds above us.
I can't.
Watch your head. The ceiling's getting lower.
Okay.
Right.
Strange place for a passageway, Kent, don't you think?
Yes. I don't like this whole setup.
Neither do I. Miss Lane disappearing from the boat, then Dick and Jim missing. I'm afraid they've gotten into trouble because they saw what happened to Miss Lane.
What?
What's the matter, officer?
What's wrong? Something brushed by my leg.
I can't see anything.
Oh, it's probably just a rat. Keep going.
As soon as I find my granted flashlight, I dropped it and it went out.
It must be around here someplace. I've got it.
Good. Lucky it didn't break. I don't like this place. I don't like it one bit.
All right, come on. Let's go.
Okay. But I don't like it.
Hey, I can hear the sounds of the amusement park now, Kent.
Yes. Yes, we're getting to the end of the passageway. Hey, that's strange.
What?
Well, the passageway.
You're right. We're coming to the end of it.
Yeah. Here we are. Outside again.
Saints alive. You know where we are?
Where?
Right behind the Hall of Mirrors.
What?
The Hall of what?
The Hall of Mirrors. It used to be the crazy house.
Oh.
Now, how come that passageway ends up here?
I don't know. We haven't found Dick or Jim or Miss Lane. It looks like we're too late.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. It's a cinch that Lois was carried through this passageway.
Well, Lordy. Now, if you listen to me.
Come on. We better search the park.
There's nothing else we can do.
You know, I've been figuring it out. That passageway must have been left there when they moved the miniature train from here to the other side of the park.
That's so?
And that was a couple of years ago, when Joe Hansen put in the River of Horrors.
Joe Hansen? I'd like to speak to this Joe Hansen.
So would I.
But he ought to be back at the entrance near the ticket booth. We can cut across in front of the Hall of Mirrors.
Wait. Hey, look, Kent.
What?
Coming out of the Hall of Mirrors. See that heavy-set old man?
Yes. He's got white hair and dark glasses.
Mr. Hemingway, the Pony Press agent Dick and Jim told the cop about. Come on.
Okay. Uh-oh, he saw us. He's ducking back into the Hall of Mirrors. You stay here, officer. Step on it, Batman. After it.
Following their first real clue, Batman and Superman and his guise of Clark Kent raced to the entrance of the Hall of Mirrors, into which the man with white hair and dark glasses has just disappeared. Is it Dr. Bly? And will Superman and Batman find Lois Lane in time? And Jimmy Olsen and Robin? Don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls. Tune in, same time, same station, for The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the makers of that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Kellogg's Pep,
the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman. And today, as Clark Kent, he and Batman are searching the amusement park for Jimmy Olsen, Dick Grayson, and Lois Lane. The startling resemblance of Lois Lane to Dixie Lamar, who was wanted for murder, suggested to Dr. Bly, head man of a confidence ring, a plan whereby Lois would be forced to face the murder charge. Lured to Playland Amusement Park outside Metropolis, Lois disappeared under the eyes of Jim Olsen and Dick Grayson, in reality Batman's assistant Robin, while riding in a boat along the River of Horrors. Summoned separately by Jimmy and Robin, Kent and Batman arrived only to find that meanwhile the two boys had also disappeared. But they did spot Dr. Bly, still wearing the dark glasses and white wig in which he was masquerading as Mr. Hemingway, press agent for the amusement park. Kent and Batman gave chase as Bly ducked into the Hall of Mirrors, and as we join them now, they are virtually lost in the maze of mirrored corridors. Listen.
Oh, we'll never get out of this labyrinth, Kent, let alone find anyone. Maybe we'd better turn back.
Lose that bird with the white hair and dark glasses, he's our only clue.
I know, but we seem to be going around in circles. Unless I'm crazy, we've passed that mirror 5 times. The one that makes you look skinny.
It's not the same one.
Well, it looks the same. Well, maybe they all look alike to me by now. I'm getting dizzy. Mirrors on the walls, mirrors on the ceiling, even mirrors on the floors. Why people pay admission to come in here, I'll never know. Look out, Kent. You're walking right into a mirror.
No, it's an optical illusion. The corridor takes a turn here.
Well, you've got better eyes than I have, I'll tell you that.
Well, there's one trouble. They're not good enough.
What do you mean?
All these mirrors must be backed with lead in addition to a coating of mercury. I can't see through lead.
Well, who can?
Well, ordinarily, Yeah, I guess I'm not making much sense, am I?
I'm not surprised. This place is my head spinning like a top. Can't think, let alone make sense.
We'll be out of it soon. Uh-oh, you better get behind me here. The corridor's narrow from here on.
All right. I suggest we turn back and search the park for Jimmy and Dick.
Why?
After all, Ken, if we can locate the kids, we shouldn't have too much trouble finding out.
Hey! Hello! Batman! Where are you? Batman! He's gone. Disappeared. I heard something open and then close. But where? Can't see through these mirrors. Batman! Where are you? Batman! Answer me!
Robbed of his X-ray vision by what's apparently lead coatings on the backs of the mirrors, Kent is helpless, even as Superman, to locate his suddenly vanished friend. Meanwhile, outside the gates of the amusement park, in a seemingly deserted frame house, the little man with the big ears, Dr. Bly's jitterbug assistant Happy, is guarding Lois Lane behind the locked door of a room. On a rickety table in one corner, a cheap phonograph is blaring out the rhythmic beats of a jazz pianist. Finally, Lois, pacing up and down the room, can't stand it any longer.
The least you can do is to stop that phonograph. That banging piano is driving me crazy.
You kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
That boogie-woogie don't set you, chick. You ain't real.
It'll send me all right out of my mind. Turn it off!
Okay. Keep your zoots, man.
That's better.
The trouble with you is, you ain't got no depreciation for solid scenting.
I'll take Toscanini if you don't mind.
Yeah? Who's he play with? What combo?
Never mind. Look, music lover, what gives here? When am I going to get out of this fire trap?
You got me, sugar. We're waiting for the big guy.
And who is the big guy?
You asked me that before, remember? And I told you nix. That still goes. Nix.
I tell you, a mistake has been made.
Truck on down, sister. There ain't no mistake. The big guy's cutting a mean groove this time.
Both you and the big guy, whoever he is, are going to find yourselves in plenty of hot water. Do you ever hear of assault and battery?
I heard of salt and pepper.
Oh, very funny. Very funny. Ever hear of kidnapping?
You mean putting a snatch on a lug?
Crudely, yes. It's punishable by life imprisonment. So unless you want to spend the rest of your days behind bars, you'd better unlock that door and let me out of here.
So pipe down. And don't tell him I was playing that jive box. You'll catch real trouble.
Open up, Happy.
Coming.
What took you so long?
I was just...
Close the door and lock it.
Read.
So, you're Miss Lane. Delighted to meet you.
I can't say the feeling is mutual. What's behind all this?
Hours of careful planning. Happy.
Yeah, boss?
The door locked.
Tied her in a trap drum. How come you was pumping so hard?
2 men spotted me coming out of the hall of mirrors. Quite a time getting away from them.
Oh, yeah?
You don't recognize me, do you, Miss Lane?
I can't say I do.
Perhaps if I replace this white wig and dark glasses.
Why, Mr. Hemingway.
Ain't she the slick chick, Doc?
Never mind the comments, Happy. Did you take care of those details at Miss Lane's apartment?
Yeah, man.
What's the meaning of all this? Why am I being held in this room? And why did you lure me to Playland under false pretenses?
Because I need you, desperately, for a little plan I have in mind.
What is it you want? Money?
Perish the thought.
Well, what is it?
Nature endowed you with certain distinctive physical qualities. And a kindly providence led you into my hands.
I'm afraid you'll have to explain further.
All in good time, Miss Lane. Moment up. Happy, who's that?
You got me, Doc.
Stand back from the door. Keep the gun handy. Who is it?
It's me, Doc. Dixie.
Dixie?
Very much.
Happy, stop the lane, girl. She's heading for the window.
Don't.
You let go of me. Let go of me. Let go of me.
Struggling to reach the window in an attempt to smash the glass and attract attention, Lois unknowingly is gambling against death with the odds against her. We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. But first, here is your announcer.
Remember the thrill you got last time you found a penny or a nickel? Well, that's the same sort of thrill you get when Mother opens a package of Kellogg's Pep. Because you know there's an exciting prize tucked away inside. Probably one of those swell insignia or warplane buttons you're collecting. Probably one of the second series. These buttons really are honeys, aren't they? The colors are clear and sharp and brilliant. Why, these buttons fairly sparkle when you pin them on your shirt or jacket or cap. Make you look smart, like the insignia of the Army 370th Bombardment Squadron, that bright golden bomb on a blue background. Or that fiery red dragon riding the black torpedo. That's the insignia of Navy Torpedo Squadron 3. In fact, any one of these buttons is a mighty swell prize to find inside packages of that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep. That's the only way you can get them, you know. You don't send in any money. No, sir, not even a box top. But every time Mother opens a new package of Pep, you'll say they're mighty swell prizes from Pep, P-E-P, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. In a desperate bid to summon help, Lois attempted to reach and smash the window of the room in which she is being held captive by the wily Dr. Bly. But the attempt failed. Roughly handled by Bly's assistant, Happy, Lois is now unconscious, stretched out on a couch as Dr. Bly unlocks the door of the room to admit Lois's double, Dixie Lamar, the girl who was wanted for murder.
Thought I told you to stay where you are.
It got too hot in that phony lighthouse.
What do you mean, too hot?
Well, 2 guys in a cot came through the tunnel leading from the River of Horrors. I thought sure they were after me, so I beat it.
You fool. I had the tunnel to the lighthouse blocked up.
I heard him talking plain as day. The cop was Raleigh, the one that hangs around the park.
They did go through the tunnel. They took the cut off. That opens out behind the Hall of Mirrors.
Maybe. Anyways, I got cold feet, so I hightailed it over here. Nobody saw me, honest, Doc.
Why do I allow myself to become mixed up with such imbeciles? Happy.
Yeah, Doc?
Get a glass of water. Drop this powder into it. Force the water down Miss Lane's throat.
Please.
So that's the dame looks like me, huh?
With more brains in her little finger than you have between your ears.
Oh, yeah? She's gonna burn, ain't she? Does that take brains?
Don't lead me into any deep discussions at this time, Dixie. Liable to say some things that might embarrass you. In any event, we haven't time for idle chatter. We have work to do. Important work.
Just pour it down her throat, Doc?
Yes, all of it.
Hey, what's that for?
Just a little potion to make certain she's dazed and confused when she awakens. Now, Dixie.
Yeah?
Change clothes with her.
Change clothes?
You heard me. All your clothes. Incidentally, is that the dress you wore when you stupidly shot the Federal agent?
Yeah.
Good. Comb her hair the way you comb yours.
How are you going to work this deal, Doc?
Very simply. Once we have Miss Lane dressed in Dixie's clothes, including a mink coat...
My mink coat? Oh, no. I'm not giving that up.
What would you prefer to give up, you little fool? Your mink coat or your life?
Oh, Doc, please. Give a gal a break.
I repeat, your coat or your life.
Don't be a threat, Dixie.
Okay. Let her have it.
If this scheme works, Dixie, I'll buy you another.
You heard that, Happy.
Yeah. I'm writing it on ice.
All right, let's get going now. Dixie, start switching clothes while Happy and I go into the next room to make a phone call. And don't dawdle.
Don't what?
Don't waste time.
Oh.
Come on, Happy.
Shag it right along, Doc.
One of these days I'm going to take some time off and teach you the King's English.
You don't have to, Doc. I know he's English.
Whoever said ignorance was bliss must have been thinking of you, Happy.
Gee, thanks, Doc. And what's the lowdown?
As soon as Dixie gets the girl dressed in her clothes, we're going to carry her out of here and sneak her into some dive in downtown Metropolis. That's where the police will find her.
How they gonna find her?
I'll show you.
Where you calling?
Listen and you learn.
I'm listening.
Hello? Metropolis Police Department?
Huh?
I'd like to speak to Inspector Henderson. Yes, it's important. Just tell him a friend. Keep your ears open, Happy.
I'm right on a beam.
Hello? Inspector Henderson? You want a girl named Dixie Lamar for murder, don't you? But never mind who this is. Just listen. You'll find Dixie Lamar at the Red Devil Cafe on South Street. I said you'll find Dixie Lamar at the Red Devil Cafe on South Street.
Forging the last link in a deadly chain of circumstantial evidence aimed at pinning a murder rap on Lois Lane, the diabolical Dr. Bly tells Inspector Henderson where the false Dixie Lamar can be found. Will Bly's daring plan hold water? Or can Lois free herself from the trap? And what about Batman, lost somewhere in the baffling Hall of Mirrors? And Jimmy, and Dick Grayson. Yes, and Superman, at the moment helpless and confused. Gang, there's excitement and thrills in every minute from now on, as Lois Lane literally battles for her life. So don't miss it. Tune in tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, and follow The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow The Adventures of Superman, brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the makers of that super delicious cereal, Kellogg's Pep. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. This is the Mutual Broadcasting.
Stand by to raise ship. Blast off. -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0!
As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. In the steaming gaseous fog which forever shrouds the planet Venus, a tall, solidly built young man wearing the trim uniform of a space cadet strides briskly along a deserted street in the city of Venusport on his way toward the spaceport. Suddenly, another tall young man steps out of a darkened alleyway, trailed closely by a smaller, wizened follower, and plants himself in the cadet's path.
Excuse me. You're Cadet Astro, aren't you? What? Yes, I am. Who are you? Don't you recognize me? Take a close look. What? Jumping Jupiter. Surprised? Why, you look just like me. Yes. Amazing resemblance, isn't it? In case you've forgotten, I'm your cousin, Mirko. My cousin? You've heard of me. Yes, I have. Nothing very complimentary, I'll bet. No, not very. I didn't think so. Come on, let's go someplace and get acquainted, Astro. Sorry, I've got to get to the spaceport and catch a ship back to Earth. I'm afraid you won't be able to make that ship, Astro. What do you mean? I've got other plans for you. All right, Beale. Hey, wait a minute. What is this? Who are you? Ooh. Nice work, Beale. Now let's drag my dear cousin Astro inside and go to work on him. Come on, Astro. Wake up. Wake up. How much sodium pentothal did you give him, Beale?
Just enough to make sure he tells the truth when he comes to. Will you look at him, though? You and him are like two peas in a pod, Mirko.
My hair's a little darker.
That's easily fixed. When you put his uniform on, nobody will be able to tell you apart.
I hope not. If anything goes wrong, it'll mean my neck.
Nothing needs to go wrong if you keep your wits about you.
Oh.
He's coming too. Well, how are you feeling now, Astro, my lad?
Who are you? Where am I?
You're with a friend, lad.
A friend?
That's right. Stay behind him. Listen sharp to the way he talks, Mirko.
Right.
Now, Astro, I'd like you to tell me about Space Academy. About your friends there. Your unit mates.
Yes, sir.
I guess you know Tom Corbett and Roger Manning pretty well. Hey, Astro?
They're my best friends.
Tell me about them. Corbett first.
They don't come any better than Tom. He's a great guy. Beale, ask him if he and Corbett have nicknames for each other.
Tell me, you and Corbett have nicknames for each other?
No. Roger and I call each other names sometimes. He calls me Venusian Hillbilly or Clunkhead.
Uh-huh. What else about him?
Nothing much. Roger's all right. Just needs some of the space gas blown out of his tubes once in a while. Tom and I take care of that. We keep him in line.
Astro.
What's the matter with him, Beale? Why did he pass out?
The drug acts like that. He'll come to again in a few minutes, and I can pump in some more. Did you get everything he said?
Sure.
Next time, I'll ask him about Captain Strong and Commander Arkwright.
Don't bother. I have all the information I need on them.
Well, all right. You know, I think this will work out just fine, Mirko.
So far. But the big test comes when I show up at Space Academy. Incidentally, what happens to my dear cousin when I leave?
Never mind about him.
I do mind. I wouldn't want him showing up at the Academy, too.
You won't have to worry about that, Mirko. Your dear cousin Astro ain't ever going to see Space Academy again.
return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Astro, Roger Manning, Dr. Joan Dale, Tom Corbett. You can get picture cutouts of all four on packages of Kellogg's Pep. You'll have a mountain of fun with these cutouts, spacemen. You can even build a setting to show your Space Cadet cutouts in action. Now, just suppose that the cadets had landed on the moon and were tracking down space pirates. Well, to show that, you draw a picture of the moon's surface, craters and all. Then you'd make a picture of the Polaris. Next, take the Space Cadet cutouts and put them right on the setting. And there you have it, a real Space Cadet scene. And once you get all four Space Cadet cutouts, you'll be able to use them all different ways. You can even act out today's adventure. So don't delay. Start collecting Space Cadet picture cutouts now. Have Kellogg's Pep for breakfast every morning. Kellogg's Pep gives you all the goodness of wheat, all the flavor of malt, all the get-up-and-go energy of a real spaceman cereal. When you finish the package, cut out the Space Cadet picture on the back. It's loads of fun to play with Space Cadet cutouts, and it's loads of fun to start off each day with a build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Unaware that their unit mate Astro is being held prisoner on his home planet Venus, Tom Corbett and Roger Manning greet Astro's impersonator as he enters their dormitory.
Astro! Greetings, Space Boys.
Well, the Venusian hillbilly himself. Where you been, lunkhead? You had us worried.
You know those space liners. We were held up half a day on Luna, rounding up a couple of tourists who got lost.
A space liner? You came back on a space liner?
Well, sure.
You mean you bought passage on a ship when you could fly for free on a Solar Guard cruiser?
Oh, well, you know, finishing up your leave and all, you like to make a splash. And I always did want to ride in one of those floating space palaces.
You always swore you'd never set foot in one.
And where'd you get that kind of money? The fare on one of those jobs is almost a year's pay.
Well, you see...
Don't tell me you put the bite on your uncle.
Yeah, that's it.
Brother, why in blazes did you talk me into leaving Venus a week early, Tom?
Well, you said you wanted to prowl, Roger, and I wanted to see my folks, so...
Speaking of prowling, Roger, any new conquests?
Well, now that you mention it, Astro, pal.
Oh, Astro, why'd you give him the opening?
There was the cutest little operator at Cadet Marshall's party last night. A real dick.
Yeah? How is Marshall? I haven't seen him in a long time.
Huh?
Are you kidding, Astro?
Why, no.
Oh, don't tell me you kissed and made up.
Well...
You and he almost tore each other apart the last time you met. How come the sudden change of heart?
Oh, well, I thought it over, and that was kid stuff. I just as soon drop the whole matter.
Huh? Well, I'll be a Martian mouse. What gives here?
I never saw you act like this before, Astro, or talk this way either. Astro, don't you hear me?
Tom, what's the matter with him? He's just standing there, staring.
Astro, what's wrong?
Come on, snap out of it, you big ape.
What?
Astro, you all right?
What happened?
That's what we'd like to know. We were talking to you, and all of a sudden you went clear out of this world.
Oh, the doctor said this would happen.
Oh, what doctor?
What's wrong with you?
Well, it's this way, fellas. I didn't want to say anything before, but Liner was... Well, I lied to you.
But why, Astro?
To cover up. You see, I had a little accident. It happened after you two left Venus. I hurt my head and was laid up at the hospital.
Well, why didn't you tell us?
Oh, I didn't want to spoil your vacation. Anyhow, the medico said I'd have, well, spells, you might call it, when I'd go blank and forget things.
Well, you still should be checked by the Academy medico.
Oh, but I'll fall behind in class. I'll lose my place with you fellas in the unit. Look, I promise, if I do any more blanking or anything like that, I'll see the medico. But right now, let me sweat it out, huh?
Well, if his doctor on Venus said it was okay for him to come back to the Academy, I guess it is, Tom.
Sure it is.
Well, maybe. Okay, Astro, we'll sweat it out with you. But we'll keep a close eye on you.
Thanks, Tom.
Gosh, Astro, I was starting to get some cockeyed ideas about you, but if you just fell on your head, well, you can't really damage that Venusian rot.
No, I guess I can't. And you just watch, fellas. Everything's going to work out fine.
Mirko calling Field. Mirko calling Field. Come in.
Field here. Go ahead, Mirko.
I just made the contact. I'll be able to swing it tonight, I think.
That's the way to talk. You have the schedule?
Yeah, but I want to double check. I I'll contact you again later.
Right.
How's my charming cousin?
He's as snug as a bug. Don't worry about him.
I won't, as long as you're taking care of him. Well, talk to you later.
So long, Mirko. Do a good job tonight.
Hey, Roger. Roger, wake up.
Huh? What's the matter, Tom?
Get up, but be quiet about it. Astro just sneaked out of the dorm.
He what? But it's the middle of the night. Where's he going?
That's what we're going to find out. He had a package with him. Come on. Look, Roger. Astro's heading for the spaceport.
What in blazes is that lunkhead up to?
That's what I want to know. Keep moving, but stay in the shadows.
Tom, I don't like spying like this.
Well, neither do I, but I think Astro's in trouble. If we can find out what it is, maybe we can help him.
Who said he's in trouble?
Well, there's something wrong with him. Haven't you noticed how different he's been since he came back from Venus?
Well, the poor guy had a bad accident. He fell on his head.
I know, but there's something else. Something I can't put my finger on. He's been, kind of sly.
Sly? Astro? Oh, come off it, Tom.
Well, what do you call sneaking out here in the middle of the night like this?
Well, he must have had a good reason.
Wait, look. He's heading for the Unit 2 cruiser, the Vega. Come on.
What in blazes is that ape up to?
Search me. Hey, look out for that crate, Roger.
Ooh, blasted.
Quick, behind this ramp. Astro's turning around.
I don't think he spotted us. Tom, look. You can see him clearer now. I think the poor guy's walking in his sleep.
Well, you're space happy.
He is. See how he's got his hands out in front of him?
He wasn't walking like that before.
Well, we couldn't see him clearly before. It was too dark.
I'm sure that...
Hey, he went right past the Vega. He's heading for the canal. Come on, Tom. He's liable to fall right into the drink. Astro! Hey, Astro, wait!
Not so loud, Roger. You'll bring the watch.
Well, hurry up before he falls in. Here he is.
I got him.
See? His eyes are closed. Astro, wake up.
What? Tom, Roger.
Take it easy now, fella.
What are we doing out here?
You were walking in your sleep.
I was? Looks like it. You never did this before, Astro.
Well,
I did it at home a couple of times after the accident, Tom.
Oh?
Gosh, I'm sorry, fellas.
Get it. It wasn't your fault. Uh-oh. There's the watch. Come on. We can slip into the door in the back way.
Wait a minute.
What's the matter, Tom?
Astro had a package with him.
A package?
Yes, you must have dropped it.
Never mind. We've got to make tracks or we'll all land in the brig. Let's blast.
Beale here. About time you called in, Mirko. What in blazes happened last night? The boys were there when the Vega landed. There wasn't anything aboard. Central Control is burning mad.
Corbett, Manny caught me. It's all right, though. I made them think I was sleepwalking. Manny bugged my story, but I'm not positive about Corbett.
How about that?
Everything else is okay. But I don't want to try it again tonight, in case Corbett is still suspicious. I'll wait till tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Understand?
Tomorrow. Right. But nothing's better go wrong again, Mirko.
It won't. This time, I'll make sure those cadet punks don't follow me. I've got to cut out now, Theo. I won't contact you again unless the schedules change.
Right.
Well, looks like Tom and Roger were too smart for Mirko, huh, Beale?
Button, if you're still alive, we'll let him court-martial you for a traitor.
What? Well, that's the way you're going to play it, huh?
That's the way, exactly.
Why, you dirty space crawler out?
Go on. Bust your muscles. You can't break them ropes.
Oh, I can't, huh?
Jupiter.
Now let's see if you can take it as well as you dish it out.
No, you don't. Keep back.
Don't go away, pal. You're going to have some sweet dreams. Right from my...
No.
Hey, Roger, look.
What's that?
The package Astro was carrying the other night. I just fished it out of the canal. He must have thrown it in when he heard us coming.
Oh? What is it?
Just a box. I'll try to get the top off with my knife.
Tom, I don't understand you. You're acting as if you don't trust Astro.
I'm not sure I do, Roger. There we are.
Well, come on. What's in it?
Kind of curious, aren't you, fellas?
Astro.
So you found it, eh, Corbett? I figured you did when it wasn't in the canal.
Hey, Astro, what?
Smart, Corbett. But this time you outsmarted yourself. Now you and your pal are in trouble.
Maybe you're the one who's in trouble.
Not me. I just have to change my plans a little.
Look, what goes on here? Tom, Astro...
He isn't Astro, Roger.
Not Astro?
No, I don't know who he is, but...
A ray gun. Tom, he pulled a gun on us. What in the universe?
We're going out to the spaceport, boys. Right now.
What's the idea?
Just do as I say. You'll walk in front, Manning. Then Corbett. And I'll be right behind you. If you make one sound, I'll blast you. Now, march!
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. There's big news at Kellogg's, spacemen, and that means good news for you. All the swell Kellogg cereals have been dressed up in brand new packages. You can see them right now at your grocery store. Why, some of the pictures on some Kellogg's packages look good enough to eat, but they're just there to show you what a swell cereal there is waiting inside for you. And don't forget, on the regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep, you get an exciting Space Cadet picture cutout, one that you can make a stand for and put in a Space Cadet setting of your own. All the new faces on the Kellogg cereal packages are bright and happy pictures. You want to have one on your breakfast table every morning. And if it's a Kellogg cereal, you know that you're going to want a big bowl full, too. So make a date right now to go to your grocery store and see all the new faces on the Kellogg cereals. Then you'll be saying,
did you see what I saw? Kellogg's on display in brand new boxes, bright and gay. These famous cereals come your way. Go see this eyeful. The Kellogg's All-Star Breakfast Show has a cheerful look, a lift for you. Start you off with a hoop-de-doo. Kellogg's for breakfast and a happy, happy day. Get a big surprise today.
See the big K-Day display of the new Kellogg packages at your grocery store. While the Academy sleeps, Tom and Roger are forced to go to the spaceport with Mirko, who is masquerading as Astro and who is armed. At Mirko's command, the two cadets approach the space cruiser Polaris, which looms sleek and gleaming under the pale light of the stars.
Blast it, but I was dumb, Tom, not to realize this guy wasn't Astro.
I wasn't exactly bright either, Roger, not to catch on sooner than I did.
All right, you two, hold it.
What happens now, Mr. Rat?
You'll find out, Manning. Turn around and face the ship.
Why?
Turn around, I said. You too, Corbett.
He's going to finish us with that ray gun and blast off in the Polaris, Tom.
Listen, Roger. Sounds like a ship coming in for a landing.
Yeah, it is. A solar guard destroyer.
It'll be too late to help you, Corbett. Hello.
Why, you sweat, Tom.
And here's yours, Manning. Oh. Now, brother cadets, let's blast off for a nice little joyride in space.
Tom, you okay? That phony slugged us, then tied us up and dumped us down here in the hold of the Polaris.
I feel like I've been run over by a steamroller, but I guess I'll live.
Not for long. That crazy space joker up on the control deck can't handle the ship alone.
Nothing much we can do about it now, I'm afraid.
Hey, somebody's coming. You suppose it's
Jumping Jupiter Astro.
What?
Hello, fellas. Sorry I took so long getting up here, but riding acceleration without cushions is no picnic.
Astro, how in the universe did
Wait a minute, Tom. Maybe he isn't Astro. It's that other joker trying to trick us.
Why, you space-happy rockhead, if you don't know me by this time...
That's Astro, all right.
Well, don't just stand there. Get us out of this.
All right. Keep your flaps trimmed.
Well, what's going on here anyway, Astro? Where have you been? Who is this character?
He looks enough like you to be your twin.
He's a cousin. Name's Mirko. Haven't heard from him in years. He and a gang he's working with nailed me on Venus when I was on my way back to the Academy.
But why?
Yeah.
Look, will you guys stop wriggling around and let me get these wires off?
Okay, but keep talking.
The idea was for Mirko to pose as me at the Academy and help this gang smuggle stuff out of Earth.
Where to? What kind of stuff?
I don't know. When I broke away from them yesterday morning, I didn't hang around to ask questions. Anyhow, Mirko would hide the stuff on Academy ships that wouldn't be suspected or even subject to customs search. And then the gang would pick it up at some spaceport en route.
Pretty clever operation.
There you are. You're both loose. Now, where's my dear cousin?
Topside, on the control deck.
He's liable to kill us all the way he's handling this ship. Well, let's get him.
Oh, nothing doing, Roger. This is my job.
But Astro.
Look, Tom, after what I went through, I deserve this. You stay down here.
Better hurry up, Astro.
Don't worry, this will be short and sweet. Just stay there and listen.
Tom, you think maybe we'd better follow him? No, this is his party. Let him enjoy it.
Hiya, cousin. Shake hands.
Wow, he sure is. Oh, listen to him. Those punches even hurt down here. Maybe we had better break it up. There won't be anything left of Mirko. Uh-oh. That sounded like taps to me. Astro, are you all right?
All right. I feel terrific.
Well, let's get up on the control deck. This ship is running away with us.
Okay. But look, I've been thinking, Tom.
Stick to your fists, Astro. You think a lot better with them.
Well, I'm serious. Instead of going back to the academy, why don't we head for Venus and pick up the rest of that smuggling gang before they get away? I left them there when I escaped.
Hey, that's a great idea,
Tom.
Are you guys kidding? Commander Arkwright would have our ears if we blasted off on our own. But we'll put it up to him when we get back.
A fine thing. Just when I was beginning to enjoy myself.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, when Tom, Roger, and Astro rocket to Venus on a dangerous assignment with the smugglers and find themselves in the greatest peril of their lives in Part 2 of The Riddle of Astro. Tune in, same time, same station, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
Spaceman, this is Tom Corbett. Thousands of families have been driven from their homes by the floods in the Midwest, and they need our help now. And money from you and your parents will help them in this terrible emergency. So give to the Red Cross.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast were Al Markham and Jan Merlin. Today's program was written by Ben Peter Freeman and directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Begg speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret. In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal all in one box. And no other raisin brand but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
This program came to you from New York. America is sold on ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
You are groping down a dark alleyway in the French Quarter of New Orleans, driven by terror, hounded by the curse of the Papaloi, the curse from which there is no escape.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully contrived to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight we escape into two worlds, one of modern jazz, the other of primitive voodoo, and to a doomed man who brought them together, as William Irish imagined it in his eerie story, Papa Benjamin. Police Department, 4th Precinct, Sergeant Tollow speaking. Yeah. Yeah? Well, pick him up on a drunk 723. Right. Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Are you in charge here?
Yeah. Hey, aren't you Eddie Block, the band leader?
That's right.
Hey, Joe, look who's here, Eddie Block.
Well, never thought we'd get a visit from a big celebrity like you, Mr. Block. And at 4 o'clock in the morning. I suppose, though, this is just a shank of the evening for a big shot orchestra leader.
Well, what can we do for you, Mr. Block?
I just killed a man.
You're kidding.
I tell you, I've just killed a man.
I guess you've been working too hard, Mr. Block. You're imagining things.
Here's the gun. Look at it.
Now, sit down, Mr. Block. Better have a drink of water. You'll feel better.
No. I'm all right.
Sarge?
Yeah?
This gun's been used all right.
Smell.
Was it an accident, Mr. Block?
No.
Well, who'd you use it on? Who was it?
I don't know his name. They call him Papa Benjamin.
Sounds like
a white man?
No, he was a Negro.
Oh, well, now, in New Orleans...
Oh, no. It was nothing like that.
Well, what was he doing to you?
He was killing me.
Huh?
Killing you? But how?
Look at me. I used to weigh 200 pounds. I'm down to 102.
Well, how? How was he killing you?
Would you believe in anything you can't see, can't hear, can't touch?
Well...
I've been to the biggest doctors in the world. They don't believe me. How can I expect you to? I simply say I'm cracked and let it go at that. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in an asylum.
Now, look, Mr. Block. You say he was a Negro named Papa Benjamin.
Yeah, he was an old man. 80, maybe 90. Skin and bones, he could hardly walk. And I shot him.
You sure? You sure you killed him?
Yeah, of course.
Well, where?
I don't know exactly. In a little back alley in the Vieux Carré. Near Congo Square.
Supposing you take us there. Can you do that? Then maybe we'll find out this is just a bad dream.
This is the alley. To the right, between the buildings.
All right, let's go. You pack, Sarge?
You catch cold without it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go back there, Ronnie.
Quiet, you.
Oh, Cop.
Nice neighborhood.
This is it. In that door and up the stairs.
Now, come on.
Oh, no. Don't make me go up there again, please.
Better come, Mr. Block. You're showing us.
Hey, flash your light. There's somebody here on the stairs.
Huh? He won't bother us. Dead drunk. Step over him and let's go. This ain't the most pleasant neighborhood to come calling in.
Is this it?
Yeah. In that door.
Now, come on.
Better call the commissioner. Mr. Block wasn't kidding. This man's dead.
But why? Why?
Because he was killing me, Commissioner.
It was self-defensive.
He never came near me once. I was the one who went to him. I offered him $3,000, $10,000, any amount, and he refused. Finally, I offered him my gun and asked him to shoot me with it to get it over with quickly and not to drag it out any longer.
Then when he said no, you shot him.
Yeah. So you can lock me up now.
Mr. Block, do you think we want to hang a murder rap on you, one of the most popular celebrities in the United States? Use your head. Now, I'm trying to find an out for you.
He was killing me.
Look, an 80-year-old colored man who's so feeble he can't even go upstairs by himself, who has to have his food pulled up to him in a basket, is killing who? A stumble bum his own age? No. Mr. Eddie Block, the top band leader of America, who can name his own price anyway, who has about everything a man can want. Tell me just one thing, Mr. Block. How was he killing you?
By thinking thought waves of death that reached me through the air.
Now, Mr. Block...
You want to hush the whole thing up, don't you?
No. No, Mr. Block. But I'm going to get the whole story. So you might as well start telling me from the beginning.
All right. It began one night about 2 years ago. We were playing at Maxim's on Charles Street. We were just another band. Small Dixieland outfit then. Eddie Block and his chips. Judy Jarvis, my wife, did the vocals. But we weren't setting the world on fire. Business was so bad I knew what to expect when I got a call from the manager one night after closing time.
Come in. Oh, hi, Eddie. I thought we'd better have a little talk.
It's that bad, huh?
We took in $4,500 this week.
Yeah, I see. And you can cancel my contract anytime it falls under $5,000. I get it.
Eddie, they can get the same liquor and sandwiches anywhere, but they'll go where the band has something. Tonight there were more waiters in the place than customers. Judy didn't even get a hand.
It's not her fault.
I know
Graham.
it's not her fault. She's okay, but... Well, I'm asking you, what's wrong?
I don't know. I'm getting the latest arrangement sent to me from New York. We sweat our heads bald rehearsing.
This is New Orleans, practically the cradle of jazz. You got to give them something new.
Yeah, I know. When do I leave?
Well, finish the week up. See if you can do something about it by Monday. If not, I'll have to St. Louis to get Kruger's band. I'm sorry, Eddie.
Oh, that's okay. You're not running a charity bazaar. But I didn't feel so cocky about it. It looked like we were on the skids. The band just didn't seem to have it. And I wasn't good enough to figure out why and pull them out of it. I was feeling pretty low when I went back to the deserted bandstand to pick up some music. The place was dark and empty, except for a couple of scrub women cleaning up. A dark nightclub can be an eerie place sometimes. I got that feeling just before I saw it. Saw it lying on the floor between the stands, with a severed chicken claw with a red ribbon tied around it. I almost laughed. How did that thing get there? Then I picked it up and tossed it out of the floor where the scrub women were cleaning up. I certainly wasn't expecting the reaction I got. They took one look, turned, and ran out. I just recovered from that surprise and was bending down to pick up some music that had slipped to the floor when I heard someone come in. I guess I was pretty well hidden from view. Anyway, he didn't see me. It was Johnny Stats, my drummer, and he was acting funny, looking intently at the floor, searching for something. Suddenly, he spotted this chicken claw on the floor and grabbed it up with a terrific sigh of relief, stuffed it into his pocket, and walked out. What I did then, I did on a strange impulse, and it changed the whole course of my life. I followed Johnny Stats. I suppose I just meant to catch up with him and have a cup of coffee with him somewhere and ask about the chicken claw. But as I followed him farther and farther down into the View Carré, down to Congo Square, it was a growing curiosity that kept me on his trail. When he turned into that dark alleyway, I stopped and debated. I felt like an eavesdropper, and yet something drew me on. And I walked up that dark alley. I passed that one lighted window.
Don't go no further, honey.
But I went on. Through a sort of tunnel into another alleyway, and then I stopped. Ahead of me, Johnny Stats stood before a dark, dismal-looking old wreck of a building. Suddenly, he whistled quietly. A gigantic man appeared out of the shadows. Johnny handed him the chicken claw and was motioned into the building. And then I heard sounds coming from the upstairs of that building. A throbbing drum, a wailing, an unearthly sound, and yet wonderful. An exotic, fascinating rhythm. This was music. Something new, something sensational, something that would set New Orleans on its ear and put Eddie Block in the big time. I had to get in there and hear it. I was mighty busy for the next 5 minutes. I ran back down the alley, overturning 5 or 6 garbage cans before I found what I needed. Then back to that lighted window in the alley, and a 5-spot in exchange for a red ribbon. Then I was back at the dark building, walking up to that menacing shadow.
Lila, let me see your face.
Okay. Easy, with that knife. My ribs are tender.
Your face never been here before.
My friend Johnny Stats up there. He'll tell you.
Mr. Johnny, your friend? He asked you to come?
This chicken claw told me to come.
Papa Benjamin sent you there?
Certainly. You'll make me late. Papa Benjamin won't like that.
All right, go along here. First thing you know, all New Orleans will be caught.
I groped up the stairs, half expecting to feel his knife in my back. But I got to the top safely. Cautiously, I opened the door and slipped The room was full of people. They were in such a state of frenzy, I wasn't even noticed. I slipped into a corner and slid down by the wall, sitting on the floor. That was a sight I'll never forget. Wild, fantastic, hideous, revolting, fascinating. In the center of the room was an incredibly old man, naked to the waist, wearing a hideous mask, and holding a live chicken. There were wild gestures, weird incantations, frantic dancing, shouting, rolling of eyes. And there was blood. And always there was the chant. Nobody noticed me. After a moment, I took a piece of copy paper out of my pocket and began putting down the notes. It was wonderful. Fantastic and wonderful. In 10 minutes, I had it. And I'd seen enough for a lifetime of nightmares. I began to feel sick. I wanted to get out. I started to stand up. Suddenly, the room went dead.
A stranger is here.
His bony arm stretched out straight from the shoulder, pointing at me like an arrow. And there was blood on it.
What you do here?
I know this man. Let me find out.
No one moved. There was no sound in the room as Johnny Stats came over and squatted beside me.
You're in terrible trouble, Eddie. I don't know if I can get you out of it.
What is this, Stats? What are you doing here?
There's no time to talk now. You've got to do something quick or you'll be a dead man.
Why? I'm in the very heart of New Orleans. They wouldn't dare.
Listen, you've seen enough tonight. You know better. Eddie, there's only one way.
What?
Join. Become one of us.
No,
It's the only way, Eddie. I can't save you. You'd better hurry up, because unless you do, you'll never get out of here alive. You know what this is, don't you? This is voodoo.
Okay, sure. I'll join up. Why not?
Wait a minute, Eddie. There's a lot more to it than you think. Unless you're serious, it'd be better to get cut to pieces right now.
All right, don't worry. I'm serious.
All right. Papaloy, his spirit wishes to join our spirits.
The old man burned some feathers while the others watched silently. Then he nodded.
It came out all right. He reads them. The spirits are willing.
There were other things, rituals, ceremonies, another sacrifice. Then as the chanting started again, they brought me the sacrificial bowl. I didn't have to be told what was in it. I started to draw back.
Drink, Eddie, drink, or they'll kill you on the spot.
Late next morning, the band assembled at Maxim's for a rehearsal. When Johnny Stats got there, he found another drummer sitting in his place. Naturally, he came to me.
What's all this about, Eddie?
I don't want any voodoo lover in my band, that's all, Stats. Here's a check for 2 weeks' salary.
So you're crossing them, are you? Boy, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes for all the gold in Fort Knox.
If you mean that bad dream last night, I haven't told anybody and I won't. I'd be laughed at. I'm only remembering what I can use of it. The jungle is just trees to me, the Congo a river, and the nighttime is just a time for electric lights.
Yeah, but this new number you're going to rehearse this morning.
I said I'd remember what I can use.
Listen, Eddie, that chant is sacred. It's secret.
It was secret.
Eddie, don't do it.
Look, here's a couple of C notes. Hand them these. That ought to pay up my dues from now to doomsday. And I don't want a receipt. And if they try putting poison in my orange juice, they'll end up in a chain gang.
It's not that easy, Eddie. You're one of us.
Oh, get out.
Okay. Goodbye, dead man.
Graham, the manager of the club, changed his mind about canceling our contract when he heard us rehearse the chant. Instead, he spent 5 G's in publicity. And Saturday night was set for the big unveiling. It seemed like all New Orleans tried to jam into Maxim's, came to hear the voodoo chant, the real thing. Just before we were ready to hit it, Judy came up to me.
Eddie, listen. Let's not do it.
Oh, what do you mean, baby, not do it? This is it. This is our ticket to the big time. It'll be a sensation.
Yeah, I know, but I got a funny feeling. And look, I found this under your dressing room door just now. It sounds like a warning. Somebody doesn't want you to play that number.
Let me see. You can summon the spirits, but can you dismiss them again? Think well. Forget it, baby. Stats is trying to scare me because I fired him.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, come on, honey, let's go. They're waiting.
Maxim takes great pleasure in bringing you a historic moment in musical history. You're about to hear for the first time anywhere the voodoo chant, the age-old ceremonial rhythm no one but the initiated has ever heard before. This is the real thing, an accurate transcription, not a note's been changed. So, ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Block and his Chips present for the first time anywhere the voodoo chant. They screamed for more, but we were playing it cagey. Once a night, that'd pack 'em in. After it was over, I went back to our dressing room. Judy got there before me. She was reading a newspaper somebody had brought in.
Eddie, listen.
Oh, baby, you were wonderful, and we wowed 'em. We're in the money now.
Yeah, Eddie, but...
Oh, boy, am I tired. I feel more tired than I've ever felt in my life. Nervous strain, I guess, huh? Let down?
Eddie, look here in the paper.
Oh, who cares about the paper now?
Eddie, it's Johnny Stats.
Huh?
He's dead. He drowned himself in Lake Pontchartrain this afternoon.
This afternoon? Then that note, it wasn't Johnny.
Oh, well, look, Eddie, you can't blame yourself.
Me? Oh, no. No, of course not, but I think I know who to blame.
What do you mean?
Nothing.
Eddie, why don't you lie down and rest for a few minutes? You look worn out.
I am. I feel dead.
Here, let me take off your coat.
Oh, be careful.
What's the matter?
I don't know. Funny thing, while I was waving the baton on the chant, I felt something, a sharp pain there in my back, like a pin or something stuck in me.
I don't feel anything there now. Maybe it's slipped down.
I don't know.
Couldn't have been much. There. Now, you just lie down. You'll feel better in a few minutes. You've been working too hard. You should relax now. Maybe take a few days off. Hey, Eddie, look here. Where did this come from?
What?
It's a little doll. It was lying on the dressing table. Why, Eddie, it looks just like you.
Let me see.
That's funny. Look, there in the back. There's a little pin sticking in the back.
Yes. That's right where I felt the pain. That started it. The next day, I had a backache. Later, there was a numbness that spread to my shoulders, arms, legs. I felt tired all the time, listless, dead. I began to lose weight. I couldn't get Johnny's Stats out of my mind. He'd introduced me to them, vouched for me, and he'd committed suicide. He knew. He hadn't waited. I decided to get out of New Orleans. I went to New York, playing the chant, of course. I had to. It was my biggest asset now. But nothing changed. I was losing weight, from a husky 200 down to 160. I couldn't sleep. Maybe if I put an ocean between. I took an offer in London, toured the continent, away a year. I was an international hit now, the biggest attraction in music. But I was down to 110, dying on my feet. The doctors couldn't figure it out. Reynolds in London told me.
You're as normal, Mr. Block, as anyone I ever examined. You're so well balanced that you haven't even got that extra little touch of imagination most actors and musicians have.
I guess that's true, Doctor. I'm just mediocre. And yet you might say my success is killing me. And so, after 2 years, I finally realized it was no use. I came back. Back to New Orleans. And back to the dark alleyway down near Congo Square. I could just barely drag myself along. But I had to see Papa Benjamin. I slowly climbed the stairs, up to that loathsome door. I went in. There he was. Papa Benjamin. Staring at me from the bed as if he'd been expecting me. Then he started to laugh. Take that curse off me. Give me my life back. I'll do anything you say.
What been done cannot be undone. You think spirits of earth, air, fire, water know what forgiveness means?
Intercede for me, then. You brought it about. Here's money. I'll give you twice as much. All I earn. All I ever hope to earn.
You have fouled the Obaya. Death has been on you from that night. All over the world, in the air above, you have mocked spirit with a chant that summons him.
And please, here's a gun. Kill me now and be done with it. I can't stand anymore. All you have to do is shoot. I'll write a note, sign it, that I did it myself.
Death will come, but different. Slow. Oh, slow.
Oh, no. I can't stand it. I won't. Maybe if I kill you, maybe then the spell will be broken.
No.
Yeah, that's
no,
it. I'll kill you.
No.
And that's all, Commissioner. And I came here. To the police station. You know the rest. Well?
All right, Mr. Block.
Don't believe me, do you?
Yes, I believe you. Not about the curse, of course. That was your own mind. They planted the suggestion in your mind, you did the rest. But it's plain that you killed in self-defense. Crazy kind of self-defense, but I think we can manage it. We'll try.
The commissioner managed it all right. How is almost a story in itself. How a detective with a moulage false face posed as Papa Benjamin and called the Voodoo clan together and into a trap. How they collected the evidence that proved my story. And how they sent most of that Voodoo bunch to jail. My name wasn't even connected with the case. So now I'm free. I'm living again. I've gained weight. The tiredness and the numbness is gone. I took a nice vacation. I went to Bermuda, relaxed, and had fun. Now I'm back in New Orleans at Maxim's, and the whole thing is forgotten. We're opening tonight, and the place is packed. Everybody's come to hear the chant. Eddie Block and the chant. We're on our way now. Nothing can stop us.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome back on his triumphal return Eddie Block and his chips, playing for you the one and only Voodoo Chant.
Look at them, Judy. They're eating it up, aren't they?
Yeah.
What's the matter?
I was hoping I'd never hear this thing again.
What do you mean? It's your trademark, yours and Eddie's.
I tried to persuade him not to do it, and he wouldn't listen.
Why? You aren't imagining all that voodoo stuff.
I don't know. It was all in his mind, and it nearly killed him. I don't think you can put it out of your mind. It's a gift so easy. When Eddie plays it again...
Oh, nonsense.
Hey, wait a minute. Look at Eddie. There's something wrong.
What? Oh, he's staggering.
Eddie!
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 Shoot him. Now, wait. Here, let me pick him up. He's probably just fainted from the excitement.
No, leave him alone. He's dead. I guess Papa Benjamin won after all.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Papa Benjamin by William Irish, adapted for radio by John Dunkel, with Frank Lovejoy as Eddie Block, Louis Van Ruten as Papa Benjamin, Harry Bartell as the police commissioner, and Joan Banks as Judy. Music was conceived and conducted by Cy Fure. Next week...
You are speeding through the night on the Istanbul Express. You're alone and unarmed. And suddenly you realize that your life is in danger. That somewhere on the train are deadly killers from whom you must escape.
Next week, we escape with Harold Lamb's exciting adventure story, 3 Good Witnesses. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Instant Ralston and Regular Ralston, the hot whole wheat cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy have cornered Prince Baccarati in a spaceship on the surface of Planet X. Holding a half-conscious man before him as a shield, Baccarati works his way toward the controls.
All right, Baccarati. Let go of the professor.
Don't come any nearer, Corey.
You're all through, Baccarati. Get away from those controls. It won't do any good to try to blast off now.
It's this spaceophone I'm interested in. There. Now stay where you are, Corey. The transmitter is tuned to a frequency that will set off a carbonite bomb. I warn you, Corey. One more step and I'll destroy Terra.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Baccarati's secret weapon. Say, listen to all that excitement inside the Space Patrol clubhouse. Let's see what's there.
Hey, Cadet Happy, you got another space coin with a picture of the moon on it? I'll trade you 3 Saturns for a moon.
Sure, here you are. Smoking rockets now, I only need one more space coin with a picture of Terra, and I'll have a complete collection.
Hi, Billy. What you doing?
Hiya, Captain Pico. We're trading space coins.
Hey, that looks like fun.
You betcha. Space coins are really swell. I've got 24 different ones already. Look how big they are. Big as a $50. And look at these keen pictures of Saturn and the moon and Terra on them.
Space coins come in all kinds of colors and different values, too, all the way up to 100 credits.
Yeah, and they're really neat for playing Space Patrol.
Best of all, you get a space coin absolutely free inside every new package of Instant Ralston.
Right you are, Hap. And Space Patrollers, why don't you get in on the fun? Start collecting these sensational space coins. You'll have lots of fun flipping them, trading them with your pals, and making up games with them. And remember, you get a space coin absolutely free inside every new package of Instant Ralston. The package with the picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the front. So why wait? Zoom over to your grocer's right now for a package of Instant Ralston and your free space coin. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, Baccarati's Secret Weapon. Quietly, efficiently, the Space Patrol is carrying out Commander Corey's preliminary plans for a mass attack on Planet X, stronghold of Prince Baccarati. In the tower room of his castle on the giant planet, the prince is making his own plans. He smiles with diabolic satisfaction as his scientific advisor, Dr. Malengro, hands him a small metal cylinder.
Here, Your Highness. Here is number 9. Fine, Malengro. One more Tartanite bomb, and I'll be ready to strike. When will the last one be ready?
Ordinarily, I should say within a few hours. However, something unexpected has come up.
What do you mean?
Professor Kraken has just learned the real purpose for these bombs. He has become reluctant to finish the project.
I will not tolerate insubordination from Dr. Kraken or anyone else. Force him to finish the job.
That is easier said than done, Your Excellency. In Professor Kraken's present mental and emotional state, pressure is likely to make him incapable of producing the 10th bomb.
Are my plans to be thwarted by the whim of one man?
But also, I think you need to remind him of one fact.
What's that?
He has a daughter in Venus City.
Well?
Don't you see? One of the Krakenite bombs is destined for Venus City.
I see your point. Bring the professor to me.
Took the liberty of having him brought up to the tower, Your Highness. He is in the adjoining room.
Then bring him in. Stop wasting time, Malengro.
At once, sir. Come in, Professor. His Highness has honored you with an audience. Very well.
I heard your insolent remark, Professor. But I'll overlook it for the present. I am told that you have refused to complete the work I assigned you to. Why?
I thought it lied to me. I'm sure that my discovery would be used for the good of this planet and its natives. Malengro here told me that Krakenite would be used to clear away mountains, so water could be brought to the desert regions.
Perhaps it shall someday when it suits my purpose.
Then it's true that you're going to use it to destroy the United Planets.
That's right. One city on each of the 10 planets will be blown to pieces. I now have 9 bombs. I want number 10 immediately.
I refuse to have anything more to do with this monstrous plan.
You're being very foolish, Professor. I can still easily destroy 9 cities. One of those cities could be the one where your daughter is, Venus City.
I hit the 10th bomb. Will get my daughter out of the city before it's destroyed? Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly.
In effect, I'm to destroy a city in order to save my daughter.
That's one way of looking at it, of course. I could still destroy the 10th city with other weapons. However, Krakenite is much more simple. Those small cylinders are so easy to smuggle into a city. And they can be detonated one at a time from my castle by spaceophone signals.
I should never have followed through on those experiments once I discovered the properties of Krakenite.
As a scientist, you could do nothing else. Well, Professor, I assume you're ready to return to your laboratory and complete the last Krakenite bomb.
You will see that my daughter is removed to a
laboratory and complete the last Krakenite bomb.
You will see that my place...
Yes. Very well. The sooner the better. My agents inform me that Commander Corey is planning a full-scale assault on Planet X. But with these Krakenite bombs, I can wipe out the key centers of resistance. Without leaving my planet, I can conquer the universe.
Meantime, Commander Corey is now in Jupiter City with Cadet Happy, organizing Space Patrol forces on Jupiter for their role in the planned invasion of Planet X. Right now, they're in the office of the governor of Jupiter, talking to the governor's secretary, Eric Pimple.
It's unfortunate that Governor Blake is ill.
A great deal of confidence in you, Mr. Temple. The spaceogram to me says that you're familiar with all of his correspondence and decisions.
That's correct, Commander.
Good. I understand you have been contacted by one of Baccarati's agents.
That's correct. This man is willing to reveal the names of Baccarati spies here on Jupiter, if the governor will guarantee him immunity.
Just who is this agent?
I don't know his name, but I'm to meet him tonight at a certain address. He's to hand over the names of Baccarati's men.
It's a dangerous assignment, Mr. Temple.
It'll be a trap. That's occurred to me. But it may be the only way to round up Baccarati's gang on Jupiter.
If you're willing to take the risk, Temple, the least we can do is help you. Where is the meeting place?
It's an old building formerly used as a clubhouse by commercial space pilots. I'll be there tonight at 21:30, University start time.
Happy and I'll be on hand early, Mr. Temple. You show up alone, just as the plan calls for.
Excellent. I'm to meet this agent and you...
In his capsule on Planet X, the jubilant Prince Baccarati seals a deadly cylinder in an innocent-looking package and turns to Dr. Malengo.
Now, Malengo, when this package is hidden in Venus City, I am ready to conquer the universe.
Your agent has his instructions, Your Highness. He is awaiting orders to blast off the Venus.
Excellent. The other crocodile bombs have all been planted, even on Terra.
Your Highness, you don't expect to detonate all the bombs, do you?
Why not?
But perhaps the United Planets forces will surrender after you demonstrate what you can do to one city.
No, Malengo. There is but one way to terrorize the entire solar system into complete surrender. Every planet must get a taste of my power, one after the other.
Your Highness, what about Crocken's daughter?
What about her?
I was thinking of your promise to the professor to remove his daughter from Venus City.
Malengo, please don't bother me with such trifles. Now that Crocken has carried out his part of the bargain, we can forget him completely.
Billions of miles away, in a Jupiter City abandoned building, Buzz and Happy wait in a darkened room. Hours go by in utter silence. Then Happy looks at the luminous dial of the Space Patrol watch.
Commander, 21:55. What happened to Temple?
There's nothing to do but wait, huh?
Get back in the closet, Happy. Leave the door slightly ajar. Yes. Is there anyone here? Commander Corey, I assume you're in hiding. When I turn on the light, you'll note that I'm unarmed. But I warn you, it won't be wise to attack me if you value the safety of Eric Temple.
All right. Turn on the light. Come on.
I hope you'll excuse this mask, Commander. For obvious reasons, I can't afford to be recognized.
Where's Temple?
When I learned he violated our agreement, it became necessary to change my plan slightly. Temple is being held by two friends of mine. If I don't return by 22:30, that's about a half hour from now, Mr. Temple will meet with an unfortunate accident.
Why did you bother to show up?
Why am I risking capture by you, gentlemen? Simply because I expect more lenient treatment from the Space Patrol than from my former boss, Prince Baccarati.
You want to make a bargain, is that it?
Yes. I have here the information I promised the governor's secretary. It's in this folder.
The names of Baccarati's agents on Jupiter?
That's right.
I'm not in the habit of making bargains with crooks.
This is once you'd better compromise with your high standards, Corey. You'd better make a deal for this information. It isn't just Temple who's in danger. As long as Baccarati's agents are free, they can keep him informed on your plans to attack Planet X. Of course, Baccarati doesn't know many details of your plans. But eventually...
All right. You win.
Here's the data on Baccarati's agents. Look it over.
Looks like a complete file. Names, addresses, meeting places.
It's all there, Commander.
Happy, hold on to this.
Yes, sir.
Now, whoever you are, see that your pals turn Temple loose.
No need for that. You'll see when I remove this mask.
Temple?
Hey, what's the idea?
Put up your hands, both of you. I want to use this last one unless I have to.
What's your game, Temple? Why the masquerade?
Why, merely to get you here, so I can handle you without interference.
There's phony evidence against Baccarati. That was to get us off guard so you could whip out a gun.
Of course. Now I'll relieve you of your weapons. Don't attempt any possession.
How long have you been working for Baccarati?
It is no importance now, Commander. No, don't lower your hand. Cast them behind your head. That's it.
Temple, if anything happens to me, the Space Patrol will be around asking questions.
You'd better hurry. Because Jupiter City won't be in existence very much longer.
What do you mean?
Did you ever hear of Croconite?
Croconite? No.
Well, a few ounces of Croconite, 1 and 2, could destroy this city.
Smoking rockets?
You may well say smoking rockets to death. But there's a Croconite bomb concealed in this city right now. And in the capital city of every planet from Mercury to Pluto.
Are you telling the truth?
I certainly am. Each bomb is set to respond to its own resonant frequency. Baccarati can destroy all 10 cities, one at a time, by sending spacephone signals from planet X.
And you know where these bombs are hidden?
No. No concern of mine.
You'd better make it your concern.
I warned you, Paulie. You're lucky I used the paralyzer ray instead of my blaster. Baccarati is going to be very pleased when he sees who I'm bringing to planet X.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. More power to you. More muscle power for sports. More brain power for school. Yes, that's what you get from a breakfast with a hot whole wheat power cereal, Good Hot Ralston. Because, gang, just one bowl full of delicious hot Ralston gives you 20% of the vitamin B1 and 11% of the iron you need all day long. And listen to this. Hot Ralston gives you twice as many vital bodybuilding elements from the heart of the wheat. Yes, all the power of whole wheat and twice as much power from the heart of the wheat. That's why a power breakfast with Good Hot Ralston gives you extra protein for strong muscles, extra vitamins for good health. And Hot Ralston is the only cereal that gives you so much power, yet tastes so good. So, gang, join the power team. Get Good Hot Ralston, Instant Ralston, or regular Ralston today at your grocer's. And tomorrow morning, more power to you from Good Hot Ralston. And remember, there's a free space coin inside every package. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, Baccarati's Secret Weapon. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have been led into a trap by Eric Temple, secretary to the governor of Jupiter. Actually a secret agent for Prince Baccarati, Temple now has Buzz and Happy locked in a compartment of a small spaceship and is taking them to Planet X. Far out in space, the two space patrolmen are carefully examining their confined quarters, looking for a means of escape.
There's not a thing in here we can use to break out, Commander.
Now, let's keep looking. We'll stand a better chance against Temple alone than after we reach Baccarati's castle. The thing to do now is... Wait, he's at the door.
Hurry. Raise your hands and step into the corridor.
All right, Temple.
Now keep your distance, or I'll lock at the dead end. Head for the control compartment. And don't try to be clever. Now listen carefully, Commander. Do exactly what I tell you, and nothing more. I'm watching you every second.
You're lost, is that it?
No, not lost exactly. Frankly, the fine points of exploration aren't in my line.
You want me to correct your vector?
Yes. I warn you, don't try to take advantage of me. I'll know soon enough if you try to trick me. And for your information, Prince Baccarati knows I'm bringing you in.
I suppose you told him you captured Happy and me in hand-to-hand combat.
No. I told him the truth.
I hope you didn't spring this time.
No sarcasm, Commander. Let's get to work and correct the course. What's that?
The meteor alarm. We're on a collision course with the meteor. Let me at those controls.
Get away from that panel, Corbett.
You crazy? You can't handle this ship.
I know what you're trying to do. You're trying
Let go of me. Stay out of the way. Little boy shouldn't play with spaceships, Temple. If I hadn't changed course just then, you'd have been spread over that meteor like a coat of paint. And don't leave ray guns lying around on the deck. Somebody might stumble.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to put you back there where Happy is now. Then I'm going to follow through with your plan.
You're going on to Planet X?
Of course. Prince Baccarati's expecting us, and I wouldn't want to disappoint him. Gloating over his expected triumph over the United Planets and upon the capture of Commander Corey by his secret agent, Eric Temple, Prince Baccarati sits in his tower, lost in the dreams of power and glory, his fingers fondling the spacephone controls that, at his will, can destroy the 10 largest cities of the solar system.
Those within my grasp. The greatest empire any mortal has ever controlled.
Your Highness.
Oh, what is it, Malenko? Don't stand there, puffing and blowing. What do you want?
Haven't you noticed, sire? Your castle is nearly deserted. Your guards, your servants, they've gone.
Gone? What are you talking about? Where would they go?
Out beyond the force field, into the hills, into the jungle. They just quietly slipped away. I caught one of them in the act. He broke away and ran, shouting that Commander Corey was coming.
What? Oh, the fools. Let them go. They heard about the idiotic space patrol invasion on Planet X. Then when they heard Corey was due, they thought he was coming as a conqueror. So let them go.
But, Your Highness, Professor Kraken is gone, too. He escaped.
Kraken?
Yes, sir. He got to an atmosphere ship.
Well, he can't get off the planet.
True, Your Highness, but with the spaceophone, he might be able to warn the space patrol about the Krakenite bomb.
You're right. The cities could be evacuated.
Then, Your Highness, we had better search for Professor Kraken immediately.
That's right. Oh, come on, Malenko. Don't just stand there. Let's get to my spaceship.
Buzz and Happy, with Eric Temple securely locked in an aft compartment, are entering the atmosphere of Planet X. Happy has just returned to the control section after a brief visit with Baccarati's secret agent.
He told me the frequency, Commander. 415.6 megacycles will get us through the force field on the castle.
Good.
Space Patrol, emergency. Any unit, come in.
Space Patrol responding to emergency call. Identify yourself.
This is Professor Kraken. I've just escaped from Prince Baccarati's castle in an atmosphere ship. And these fellows, there's a spaceship approaching rapidly.
Give me your position.
That's not important. Every planet in the solar system is in danger. Baccarati can blast the 10 largest cities to pieces at any moment. They must be evacuated at once. Please, believe me. I made the bombs that are now concealed in those cities.
I believe you, Professor. Give me your position. I think I've picked him up, Commander. There's an atmosphere ship in the roof boat that coincides with the spaceophone ship. Hey, and here comes a spaceship. And by the looks of it, it's Baccarati. Professor, use evasive action. We'll be right with you.
No use. He's firing at me. Warn United Planets. Baccarati is...
Cut off. I think he's been hit. Stand by to fire space torpedo taps. We're going after Baccarati.
Your Highness, we've scored a hit. The atmosphere ship is damaged. It's going to land.
It's not finished yet. Blast him again.
Yes, Excellency.
Oh, you're off range, Malenko. Fire again.
Your Highness, look. There's a spaceship 12 degrees high, and it's coming toward us.
It's a small Class B cruiser. That must be Temple, bringing Corey in. The fool! He's firing at us. What's wrong with that idiot?
Perhaps Corey.
I'll go on, say it.
Perhaps Corey is no longer a captive.
That bungling Temple. He shouldn't have tried to bring Corey here.
Sire, we're not far from the castle. If we can make it through the force field...
There isn't time. Corey could blast us before we made it.
But what can we do?
Kraken's landing. Set our ship down near him. Corey won't dare fire at us then.
Yes, Your Highness.
When we've landed, make a rush at Kraken. We'll take him alive. Then we'll make Corey believe Kraken's safety is the only way to save those cities from being destroyed.
That Baccarati ship lined up, sir. Hold your fire, Hap.
Yes, sir.
Maybe he's hit. He's going to land. Sitting down right near Kraken's ship. You don't dare fire at him now. Baccarati wants to settle this on the ground. That's all right with me. Stand by for a quick landing, Hap. Standing by. Full repeller ray.
They're getting out of their ship. It's Baccarati, all right. And Malenko.
Open the hatches, Hap.
Yes, sir.
Down the ladder.
Hey, they're dragging somebody out of that atmosphere ship.
Must be the professor.
Hold it, Baccarati. Hold him off, Malenko. I'll take Kraken to my ship.
Take care, Malenko, Happy. I'm going after Baccarati.
Yes, sir.
Stay where you are. I'll fire.
Too bad you missed, Malenko. Malenko. You'll be needing this blast gun for a while.
Hey, Commander, wait for me. All right, Kraken. Get into the ship. Up the ladder, quickly. And hurry up.
Hold it, Baccarati. Come down out of that ship.
Come and get me, Corey.
Commander, quick, he's closing the hatch.
No, he isn't.
All right, Baccarati. Let go of the professor.
Don't come any nearer, Corey.
We're all through. Get away from those controls. Won't do any good to try to blast off now.
It's just the spaceophone I'm interested in. There. Now, if you take one more step, I will destroy Terra. This transmitter is tuned to the frequency that will set off a crocodile bomb. Hidden in the heart of Terra. And there are 9 other bombs. In 9 other cities. The professor can confirm that. He made them. Terra would be wiped out.
Is that right, Professor?
The signal that comes from here, I doubt that the energy reaching Terra would be strong enough to activate the Klotzenite detonator.
But you don't dare risk it, do you? Not with all those lives at stake. Well, Commander?
All right, Baccarati. I can't take the chance.
Splendid choice. Now, Cadet, if you will bring me that blessed gun you took from Malengo, and the Commander's ray gun, too, if you please.
Go ahead, Happy. There's nothing you can do.
Yes, sir. And remember, my hand is on the switch. In a split second, I can send an impulse toward Terra.
Okay. Here's your weapons.
Thank you. Now, step back to me. And now that I'm in full command, let us test this crocodile bomb. Perhaps the spaceship transmitter is powerful enough after all.
Baccarati, you promised.
I promised nothing. Now, don't move, any of you. Here goes Terra.
Smoke and rockets, Commander. Look through the viewport. That big ball of flame. And the smoke.
My castle. It's gone.
What I failed to tell you, Baccarati. I made 11 bombs. The last one was set to the same frequency as the one on Terra. And I hid it in that castle.
My castle. My beautiful castle. Wiped off the face of the planet.
All right, Baccarati, I'll take those weapons.
Everything's gone. My castle, my empire, everything. Doesn't anybody understand?
Take him to the other ship, Happy. I'm going to check on Terra.
Everything's okay back aft, Commander. All 3 prisoners are securely locked up.
And the professor?
Sound asleep. Commander, look. There in the viewscope. Now I can believe that spaceophone report. It's Terra, safe and unharmed.
Beautiful, isn't it, Hap?
It sure is, sir. But you know, Commander, now that it's all over, I almost feel sorry for Baccarati. Oh, not really, but you just look at him lying there. No more fighting. And Commander, he just looks empty. You can't hate him because there's nothing left to hate.
Baccarati is another example of an evil man who destroyed himself.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Hi, Space Patrollers. This is Captain Dick Tufeld speaking.
And this is Cadet Happy. We've got a question to ask you. Did you get a red-hot start this morning?
Are you loaded with energy and packed with power to think fast and act fast?
If you had a good breakfast with good hot Ralston, chances are you're ready for anything that comes. Right, Captain?
Right, Hap. You see, Space Patrollers Happy and I investigated and found out that hot Ralston gives you lots of the real hot whole wheat energy you need to be in tip-top condition for everything you do.
Yeah, and we discovered that hot Ralston is the best tasting cereal in the whole universe. It's got a rich, nut-like heart of wheat flavor you just can't beat. Hey, it's so good for breakfast you'll want to eat 2 bowls full. It's more delicious than a...
Hold on there, Hap. Space Patrollers, it is hard to find the right word to tell you how good hot Ralston is. But you just get a package of hot Ralston, instant or regular, today at your grocer's, and tomorrow morning you'll know why we say...
No other cereal gives you so much power and tastes so good as hot Ralston.
And remember, inside every hot Ralston package, you get a swell space coin absolutely free. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are in their spacesuits on Saturn's moon number 5. Cautiously, they make their way toward a criminal who already has made one attempt upon their lives.
Smoking rockets, what was that? A space grenade. Wow. Hey, if you hadn't pulled me down, we'd have got some chunks of rock through our spacesuits.
We can't back out now. Let's move forward.
Yes, sir.
Hold it, Corey. I'll get you this time for sure.
Be sure to join us again next week for the thrilling story, The Lost Thunder, when Wheat Check, Rice Check, and Good Hot Ralston again present Space Patrol!
Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Devry. Other players were Bela Kovach, Norman Jolly, Jerome Sheldon, and Stephen Robertson. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Instant Ralston and Regular Ralston again present Space Patrol! This is Dick Tufeld in St. Louis, reporting on the twin-jet Air Force fighter, the McDonnell Voodoo XF-88A. In a moment, we'll hear from the noted test pilot who flies this plane, Phil Houghton. Speed of the Voodoo is a military secret, but it's plenty fast. Wingspan is 40 feet, length 55, weight 10 tons. And now, Phil Houghton recorded this morning at Lambert Airfield.
After seeing the Voodoo, I guess you know why I like my job. There's one thing about it, though. The test pilot has to stay in good condition, get lots of sleep, and eat good, healthy food. That's why I like rice checks and wheat checks for breakfast. They've got plenty of energy in them, and they really taste well. I think you'll like them, too.
No other cereal, puff or flake, contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So do as Phil Houghton, J. Ray Donahue Jr., and other top test pilots do. Make your cereals rice checks and wheat checks. If you had a chance to save someone's life, you'd do it, wouldn't you? Well, here's your chance. Buy all the Christmas seals you can. Christmas seals help in the fight against tuberculosis, the disease that kills 5 million people throughout the world every year. So help save a life. Buy all the Christmas seals you can. And ask your mom and dad to buy them, too. Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local newspaper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.